football in the living room last night at about 2 a.m, knocking stuff around.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's nuts.
Is he singing
Probably. He's 12.
You gonna replace that thing?
No. Cats will be enough for now.
Okay. Oh,
Sorry, Paul.
Paul in the pole position.
Yeah, so is Verstappen.
Can't believe our buddy's got that huge parlay. That's the only one he missed.
I couldn't believe that got to the over in the Orlando game.
Oh my God, the intentional fouling in the final 2 minutes. I know, Coffin Ball, not only they have no horse betting, there were a lot of people. I guess that Twin Spires did 90 million, but I know a lot of people that were having trouble getting their bets in.
They wouldn't take either of my credit cards. I had to go through the easy. It was a pain in the ass to get on that. Wish I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have lost any money.
So there was there's a woman who I had never seen or heard from. And she absolutely nailed the race. She nailed the top 3 finishers. She told how all 3 were going to do it. Okay. It was unreal. She said of the 2 favorites, I like Sierra Leone. She called the horse that we liked, the 8-1 shot that finished the close third. All right. 2 slots to the right of Sierra Leone. And then she said, you want some value? Mystic Dan. Let me tell you how. And she basically said, this will be the try box. Oh my God.
Wow, because nobody, not Kurt Becker. I listened to a lot. I never heard Mystic Dan's name mentioned.
Yeah, she was all over it.
The 2 I had to laugh. Enzo and the other one that do the betting there. The other one was up. We go to church on Saturday. The other one's up 1,500 when I go to church. I come back, he's down 500. I'm like, how did you lose $2,000 in 4 races?
Feeling good about yourself, obviously. Yep, ambient. Franz Wagner with his John Starks game last night.
Yeah, couldn't make a thing.
1 for 15 in a game 7. That'll stick with you for a while. Oofta.
I mean, I don't even know if they need a Clay. They need a Max Strus. They just need somebody that can make a 3 when they need one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, God, boy, do they need shooting. Shot 34% yesterday. Not from 3 for the game. Boy, Coffin Ball, the Blades are on the brink of elimination, and just like that, they've won 5 in a row.
Here we go.
Hey!
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend. It is the first Monday in May, and this is how we get things started. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. That's how you can get a hold of. That's how you can download our stuff. That's how you can keep us with you. I know many of you are like, yeah, I don't know if I want to take you guys with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good, busy. Lots going on. The daughter had her birthday. That carried right through the weekend. So
so that was a 4-dayer because her birthday was on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow. So like what, pool party or something like that?
No, just another, it was just a constant reminder of it was her birthday. My
Well, you
mother-in-law was in town, so we had a busy house.
gotcha.
I did, she wanted to go. She likes to do the Japanese steakhouse. Kids love that stuff.
Okay.
She had it set for Saturday. I had to break it to her Saturday morning that there's a change of plans. We'll do it Sunday because Daddy's watching the Derby on Saturday.
I was going to say, listen, I love you and all, and I know your birthday is once a year, but the Derby is once a year.
And sometimes they coincide, sweetie. And let's just face facts. For 2 minutes, the Derby takes precedence.
It's an American tradition. All right. We can celebrate your birthday anytime. The Derby happens the first Saturday in May.
Was it ever an American tradition? The TV numbers came back and it was a monster.
Man, are we watching sports?
We are.
It's almost like we don't watch anything else on television except sports. Huh. Imagine that.
What a sports weekend.
Oh, my goodness.
What a sports weekend, David.
Where do you want to start? Seriously.
Well, you're going to laugh when I say it, but I could start in the NBA because I thought we had a changing of the guard this weekend with Anthony Edwards having a coming out party, because who really watches the Timberwolves? I know, we got DC in our Twitch chat room. He's going to tell us all about it because he's a diehard T-Wolves fan. And DC, we thank you for that. But outside of DC in our Twitch chat room, there are 6 people that watch the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, no. Late fourth quarter, I got a text from a buddy of mine because for those that are new to the show, I spent 5 years in Fargo, North Dakota, which borders Minnesota. And obviously everybody there roots for the big Minnesota teams. And he texted me, his name's Derek. And Derek said, oh, the bandwagon is filling.
And it is. But, I mean, you come off of Maxey last week having the big game and people starting to talk about him, and I know they lost. Anthony Edwards has the monster game. Banchero has 25 points in the first half of a Game 7, the youngest to ever do something like that. And Donovan Mitchell says, hold my beer in the third quarter. I thought the NBA with no LeBron, no Steph,
no KD,
right. No
right.
problem.
No, it's very interesting, first off, that you started there, but that also you made that point and that observation because, and I do admit to this, I listened to a little NBA radio, right? And they were saying it feels like this could be, because it's not just this moment in time, Mark. You really have to wonder, will any team that any of those 3 all-time greats that they'll be on the rest of their careers, will they be contenders? Will LeBron play on a contender again? Will KD play on a contender again? Will Steph and the Warriors, because we don't think he's going anywhere, will Steph and the Warriors ever be a contender again? Or is this truly the spring in which we go, guys, we're going to enjoy watching you for the rest of your career, but time for you to surrender the spotlight. You're still great players. You're going to be on the Olympic team. You deserve it, the whole deal. But yeah, our attention is officially going elsewhere.
And rightly so. Because, and look, I'm late to the party. Anthony Edwards, we're watching this gentleman become a man before our eyes right now.
He's 22.
Yeah.
And you're right. He is a man. He is a man. Listen, nobody makes comparisons with Jordan. Nobody. LeBron gets mentioned with Jordan just in terms of, well, with what one's accomplished and what's other accomplished, who's the better player. But Kobe drew comparisons to Jordan because literally he walked like him. He talked like him. He wanted to be everything that Michael was. Kobe tried to copy.
He saw the commercial as a child and took it literally.
But since Kobe, Mark, this is the first player that for his playing style and his playing ability is the first young player since Kobe that people have dared say, I got to be honest, he reminds me of a young Michael Jordan. Whoa! And people don't say, you're fired. Can't have you on as a guest anymore. Oh, sorry. Yes, he's that remarkable of a player so far.
So far.
And as my Minnesota sports fan buddy Derek texted me, and he said, listen, and Derek's probably in his mid-40s. And he texted me and he said, I can go through the list in my lifetime, from Moss to, and he rattles them all off in all the major sports. And he goes, this guy is the first one who had, quote, it since Kirby Puckett. And you have to understand, Kirby Puckett was the most beloved and spectacular athlete in the Twin Cities, arguably of all time. Because also, what did he do? He delivered 2 World Series. And my buddy said to me, he goes, listen, this is Moss rookie year. This guy, personality and greatness, he goes, this could be the first guy we've had since Puckett. And Puckett's almost 30 years since he was forced into retirement. And of course, he tragically passed away 20 years ago by a stroke.
So Anthony Edwards didn't really, thought about this yesterday. Went for a walk, and I'm like, what are we going to talk about? And this before yesterday happened. How do we come up with this show in the right way of what's going on? But Trent, I want to bring you in because you're the NBA. Out of the 3 of us, you watch the most association. You love LeBron James.
I do.
Do you see what we're talking about? Did you feel like there was a changing of the guard over the course of the last 3 or 4 days in that league?
Totally. And not even the last 3-4 days, probably the last 3-4 months, where it's Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Paolo Banchero, Jalen Brunson. It's like this new Tyrese Halliburton. It's this new guard coming in.
How about Paolo Banchero last night?
Whew.
Unfortunately, he had no help. He turned around in the 3rd quarter and said, "Are you with me?" And they all went, "No, man, we ordered lunch. You want anything?" Wait, what? We're playing? I thought with as well as you played in the first half, I thought it was over. No, guys, we're only halfway there. They're charging up the hill. Oh, man.
I need a shooter. I don't know where we've heard that before. I've never heard anybody on this show say that the Orlando Magic need a shooter.
No. If they had one this year, they'd be in the conference final.
Damn right they would be.
Golly.
The Magic needing a shooter is up there with you guys saying the Devils need a goalie.
That's true. That's true. All right, so we've taken care of the one big need of an NBA team and the one big need of an NHL team. Hey, the Falcons need a quarterback. Oh, wait, they signed one and drafted one. We digress. Is that too soon?
No.
Too soon for the
Not
Falcons?
even close.
Man, it's a cliche. People have now, the 2 greatest words in sports. Game 7. Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, pretty damn amazing. Especially when they both are 2-1 and one of them's in overtime. Yeah. Man, the drama that we had on the ice this weekend.
And Orlando Cleveland delivered for a Game 7. It wasn't a great Game 7, but it was a good Game 7.
Did you see, by the way, first time Orlando had been on ABC in 12 years?
That's insane.
I mean, that's half a lifetime ago for you. It's the last time the Orlando Magic were on network television. Not cable, network. 12 years. Wow.
I have a funny feeling with who they have on that team, it's going to be a lot sooner before they're on network television again, David.
Yeah, I have a feeling too. Like I would say probably, listen, Mark, could the Orlando Magic get a Christmas game? not a home game necessarily.
Right.
You know, because you figure they're going to go out. They've got 50+ million in cap room. They've got draft capital. They can go get somebody. They can make a deal and take that next step on paper. And you wonder, you know, the NBA is still trying to schedule games on Christmas against the NFL. I mean, it's still a thing. And they usually put 5 games on Christmas. And that's the NBA lets you know what your status is as a team if they give you a Christmas game. So will the Magic get a Christmas game?
So that, I mean, we are just touching upon the weekend in sports with a little hoop talk. David mentioned the game 7s. We're a tradition unlike any other. Toronto losing to Boston.
Right. The Maple Leafs playing golf before Mother's Day. Did you see the stat? There are 4 teams who have never played a game in June. And it's like the Arizona Coyotes, the Minnesota Wild, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ouch. Ouch.
Poke check. 2 words. Poke check.
But the Bruins get it done, and the Panthers were just sitting back watching, eating their popcorn, going, so who's coming to town? Oh, you guys. Okay, that's fine. We played you last year. Miller and Moulton. An amazing sports weekend. Hell, we haven't talked about 2 historic races yet.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Kilo Stat, how do we know Kelsey picked Mystic Dan?
Yeah, I think Gronk went a little off script during his too.
Oh, well.
But he couldn't read it, basically. I mean, the joy they had at poking fun at Rob Gronkowski's dumbness was pretty good.
How about that female comedian when she was busting Brady? How'd you lose 30 million? I mean, even Gronk knew that not real currency.
Blaze game with Pat was unbelievable, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you went Friday, right?
Yes.
Hung out with a former NFL head coach.
Oh, yes. He was probably sick of me by the end of the night, too, because I kept asking questions about the NFC North in 2008 when my Lions went 0-16.
I don't think so. They love it. They have memories like steel traps and can talk. It's
Brad Childress is a really nice man.
he really is.
Yep.
He's great.
Yep.
He's my new favorite non-Lions head coach ever. In fact, I think he even jumped Jim Schwartz and Jim Caldwell.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, I really would. I mean, Caldwell, listen, at least Caldwell gave you 3 winning seasons. But if he didn't jump Schwartz, I mean, come on now.
I love Caldwell. Never should have gotten canned. Actually, I mean, they needed to move on, but Patricia, oof.
Not with Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, they didn't.
Right.
So were you on the move as much as we said you would be?
Oh yeah, every single
Yep. Period's over. Let's go.
Right away. Yeah, and then every period upstairs, back down.
You never had to go to your hip, did you?
No, not once.
No, not once. No,
Not
way.
a chance.
No chance.
Pat told me walking in. He said, "If you pay for anything tonight, I'll kill you."
Yep.
That's
Yep.
he gets mad when I try to pay.
I know. I look right at him and go, I have 5 jobs. And he goes, shut up.
He goes, "Do not pull any money out tonight for any reason." All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope you had a great weekend. We are Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. How about the 2 races? I mean, 3 if you want to count the Miami Grand Prix, just that somebody not named Verstappen won. But between the Derby and the NASCAR race last night, and I don't know how many people watched the NASCAR race last night.
6.
Actually, the ratings have been okay.
6.
They really have. Okay.
If you say so.
I mean, granted, you and I get into a game 7, we'll get to the Brady roast on Netflix a little bit later on.
Yeah, I left the sound of game 7 very early.
Well, I will say, and I don't have the setup that you have. You have
Right.
multiple TVs in one place, so you could do that. And because one was cable and one was streaming, I wouldn't do the back and forth thing. And now, granted, I forgot about it. You text me like 30 or 40 minutes into the roast and said, "Are you watching?" And I went, "Oh, blank." Okay, but because it was, I couldn't go back and I couldn't leave a game 7.
I understand, but the volume went down on game 7 in a hurry. And to say that the language was
Inappropriate.
harsh, my mother-in-law is still in town. And I flipped the Brady roast on at what must have been the most off-color part of the roast.
Wow.
Nikki Glazer, a comedian, was on fire. And there was nothing she said that was PG rated. Not one joke. They were all R to NC-17.
I was going to say, I don't know how many of them were R.
And that was at the point that my mother-in-law got up and went, "I think I'll go to bed now." And I went,
Right.
in my head, I went, "It's probably a good idea because I'm not turning the volume down because this is funny."
And I have a sports talk show, so I got to keep this on. That's where you look at her and go, "No, I'm just doing research. I have to watch this for my job.
But that was the reason NASCAR never came close.
I understand.
To getting on the TV last
I understand.
Night. And I, between a little group chat we had going on, was able to follow the race through a couple of other people. But yeah, I mean, the closest NASCAR race in history
ever. Mark, when you get to break out that 4-letter word, ever. Yes. Closest race ever. Mark, you know how when the race ends and, obviously the drivers take their foot off the gas and they'll coast. And they were halfway through the coast lap and nobody knew who won yet. Both sides were still celebrating. Both thought they won. And we didn't have video proof that they were wrong. And that was after a tremendous derby. I mean, they were 6 wide at one point down the stretch they come. I'm like, look at this.
It was an amazing Kentucky Derby.
Yes. I go, this is like Talladega squared. I mean, look at this. The 2 horses looked like they were Velcroed together down the stretch. I'm like, is that legal? Are there fouls taking place there? Is this like trying to get post position on the block in the NBA? What? I mean, those 2 horses that were trying to chase down, Mystic Dan there, they were literally, it was like, those spoofs in which people become entangled. I mean, for like 10 seconds, I'm like, are they connected? Have the jockeys like boots hooked on with each other? Wow. Closest 3-way finish in nearly 80 years.
Since 1947 was the last time they had a 3-way photo at the Derby.
Good stuff. And a little bit of value if you were, managed to have Mystic Dan in your wagering. An 18-1 shot to win the Derby.
I did not have Mystic Dan anywhere in my wagering.
No, we didn't. No.
My long shot was Anna Marie, which had run at Churchill before, so I thought there was some value there. It didn't do a damn thing.
No. I had the horse that finished 3rd. I had that horse but no. Picked the wrong favorite. Went with the other one. Oh, well. But there was a female handicapper who I've never seen before. She nailed all 3. Told us exactly how, said these are the 3. Let me tell you how they're going to do it. Wow. She's going to get a lot of work in the next 2 weeks. I'm already trying to book her on our show before the Preakness. It's the best handicapping of a horse race I've ever seen. That's how accurate she was. She literally mentioned only 3 horses.
And they finished 1, 2, 3?
Correct. In a 20-horse field. That's pretty damn good. So, and yes, Mark, you touched upon the ratings earlier. Remember, how long does this race take?
2 minutes.
And how long is NBC on the air?
Forever.
3.5 hours officially. 4 to 7:30. The race again is how long?
2 minutes.
Okay. Not 2 hours.
Nope.
Not 2 halves. 2 minutes out of 210 minutes of coverage. Almost 17 million people watched. NBC as a network has not had anything attract that many people to it since the Dolphins playoff game. And technically, that was on Whitcock. But seriously, NBC has not had anybody watch its network for anything to that extent since they aired an NFL game and an NFL playoff game. Best ratings in 35 years for the Kentucky Derby.
It crosses over, though. You know, I had it on, and I was, like you have been a lot of times, I am now surrounded by women. My mom, my mother-in-law, my daughter, my wife. That's who I watch the Derby with.
Right.
And I had it on. I had the pregame on whatever channel it was on. It was on USA beforehand. You know, I watch all day.
Oh, wow. So you put, because like they do 4 or 5 hours on Friday for the Oaks on USA. I mean, like 1 to 6, it's on USA. But yeah, they got the pre-race, which is like, it's kind of like golf on the Golf Channel at a major, you know, for the first 20 guys who made the cut. So that you had that on USA?
Oh, yeah. Wow. I watched the turf races. I watched the all of it. It's one of my favorite days of the year. But I found out why the rating is so high, because as they are marching the horses out with the owners, and they're interviewing owners and different people, my wife and my mother-in-law are beside themselves because of what women are wearing heels in the dirt and what women have the proper shoes for the dirt. And they were all in. They had their own running commentary of the outfits, the shoes, the hats.
So the Kentucky Derby has replaced the Oscars red carpet. Is that what you're saying?
For them, it did. For that moment in time, it did.
With no more Joan Rivers to make the red carpet entertaining. Okay. The women of the world have decided they're going to do it themselves. They're going to do it in the cozy confines of their home where they could say anything they want and it's okay. And they do it with the Derby. Oh, look at that color. Oh, that hat.
She's carrying her shoes. She's barefoot. That was the moment of, that's the point of no return.
But listen, my mother-in-law had it on for 2 hours because she's 83 and this just in, and she has her own room, and it's loud. Okay. I know every show that my mother-in-law is watching just from sitting in the living room next to it. Okay. And so I turned to my wife at about 4:45 and go, well, your mom's got the Derby on.
Good for her.
Yep.
And the Derby delivered. 2 great races, the NASCAR race, the closest ever. The Derby, the first 3-horse photo finish since 1947. Tremendous sports weekend, tremendous racing weekend. We'll get it all for you next. It's David Moulton with the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What do we want for a poll question?
Good question.
There's so many ways you could go. Tom Brady roast. NHL playoffs.
Who would you most want to see? What other sports figure would you most want to see get roasted?
I like that. I like that.
LeBron.
Yeah, that's where my vote was right off the bat.
Got to put LeBron on it.
Peyton Manning.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of guys that are current.
No, that's good. Rodgers. Let's do that. What current athlete? Because Brady's retired, of course.
Tiger.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
Tiger, LeBron, Aaron Rodgers.
That might be the trifecta right there, kids.
Just those three.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to even put a fourth?
No. 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 Yeah, Bonds hasn't played in 15 years, though. More, actually. Listen. Did it raise money? Did the money go to charity? Was there a cause for that besides just people watching Netflix?
Probably the Tom Brady cause, but that's just me. Who was it? Was it John that texted last night that he got he heard he got 8 figures for that?
Huh.
I just put those 3. It's up. Which current athlete would you most want to see get roasted?
If it was Rodgers, I would be at the roast. My brother and I on the rail at Ford Field asking him, screaming, "Have you been immunized?" And he actually looked up at us and shook his head. Hilarious.
I mean, he had to know the Giselle jokes were coming, right? I mean, come on.
Yes. Well, let's be honest. The Giselle thing is probably the main reason this even happened, right? I mean, if he didn't get divorced, how much juice would there be for Tom Brady? There still would be, but for a Tom
Will
Brady
Ferrell
roast,
was not. Will Ferrell could have been funnier doing Ron Burgundy,
Right.
but when he kept pronouncing Giselle 47 different ways, Giselle. There was a few Bridget Moynihan jokes at his expense. I mean,
whoa, really?
oh, the last time Tom Brady went deep with Bridget Moynihan. I mean,
Wow.
David, it's worth watching if you're sitting there bored, because I'm sure it's
How long
going to
is
be on
it?
3 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Greg Wyshynski to talk NHL in our 8 o'clock Eastern hour. Brian Hill, former coach of the Magic, will join us in a couple hours as well. Where do the Magic go from here? How close are they? Guy who coached them twice. He'll join us in a couple hours. We'll get to the starting five in a moment, but we're going to do a much better job this week, we promise, of poll questions. We're going to have one every day. That's at the minimum standard, and they'll be decent. That's
a lot of pressure.
I know.
It's a lot of pressure on the three of us.
This one's pretty good, though. This one's pretty good. Go for it. Tell them.
Which current athlete would you most want to see get roasted? We give you three choices: LeBron James, Aaron Rodgers, Tiger Woods.
Wow.
All of the above is not an option.
Wow. There's not a bad answer there. There's not. There's so much material between. I mean, if they went after Brady as hard as they did last night over his failed marriage, do you have any idea what it would be like with Tiger? With all the material that he has given us over the last 15 years off the course? Listen, I'm surprised Brady did it. I would be shocked if any of those three agreed to do a roast.
I'm still shocked Brady agreed to do it.
I really
and I watched it. But Brady had, I'll tell you, his closing lines were pretty good. He threw a shot at Belichick for, that Ring camera video of Belichick shirtless leaving the girl's house at 6 a.m. You still got it, Coach? Bringing up Spygate with that one. I mean, come on, that's good material.
Oh, boy. So, all right, that's our poll question in honor of the Brady roast. All right, which celebrity or athlete would you want to see roasted next? Aaron Rodgers, LeBron James, Tiger Woods. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Vote accordingly. Right now at 20 before the hour, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
There is so much material, but number 1 will be the NBA because we had a game 7 and the home teams won all 7. Orlando did lead by 10 at the half. Paolo Banchero with 25 at the half, but Donovan Mitchell took over in the third quarter. The Cavs outscored the Magic by 18 in the third quarter and pulled away and won 106-94. Cavs win in 7. They'll face Boston next. Remember that John Starks game 7 against the Rockets 30 years ago when he went 2 for 18? Yeah, Franz Wagner went 1 for 15 for the Magic in their game 7 yesterday. 1 for 15. Hello. Do you know, Mark, it was the first playoff series that the Cavs won without LeBron James on the roster since 1993. Yeah, beat the New Jersey Nets in 93. Tonight, by the way, game 1, Pacers and Knicks. Knicks a 6.5-point favorite. Game 2, T-Wolves and Nuggets. Denver, despite being banged up, Jamal Murray not 100%, despite the T-Wolves winning game 1, Denver a 5.5-point favorite.
Thank goodness it's at 10 o'clock tonight.
NHL, another game 7. The first round officially over when Dallas scored early in the third period and beat Vegas 2-1. Bye-bye to the defending Stanley Cup champions. Dallas Stars head coach Pete DeBoer. Now, he's been quite a few places. He's been Jersey. He's been Vegas, Dallas. I think I'm missing a stop. He's 8-0 in game 7s as a head coach. That's remarkable. Rangers, game 1 of their second round series in the East. Zibanejad with 2 goals. They beat Carolina 4-3. Game 1 in the East in Florida tonight. The Panthers and Bruins will get it on for a second straight year, 8 o'clock on the 4-letter network. All right, to baseball. So the Rays were down to their final strike. Edwin Diaz hadn't blown a save in nearly 2 full years. Of course, he missed all last year with an injury. Randy Arozarena hit a 3-2 slider out of the park with 2 out in the 9th to tie it, and then they scored 2 in the 10th to sweep the Mets 7-6. The Marlins, a day after losing 20-4, beat Oakland 12-3. Big story with the Marlins. They traded the 2-time batting champion Luis Arraez for 3 minor leaguers, none of whom are a top 100 prospect. And they picked up his salary for the rest of this year. Padres on the hook for his $12 million for next year. So they're waving the white flag 20% of the way into the season, and they waved it coming off a 3-game winning streak. So Marlins. Red Sox snapped the Twins' 12-game winning streak 9-2. Baltimore swept the Reds 11-1 the final yesterday. 16-2 was the final over the 3 games. Yankees swept the Tigers 5-2. Phillies have won 5 in a row. They beat the Giants 5-4. Dodgers swept the Braves, which has the Phillies in first by 2.5 games. Ohtani 4 for 4. He hit 2 homers yesterday. Have you seen what Ohtani's hitting? He's hitting like 360. Wait until he can pitch. Then it'll really be worth the money. Cubs took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. They won 5-0. White Sox with 4 in the 7th beat the Cardinals to improve their record to 8-26. Seattle got a Cal Raleigh homer in the 9th to beat Houston 5-4. Texas over KC 3-2-10. Rangers scored 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th to win it. Cleveland is a 2.5-game lead in the Central. They beat the Angels 4-1. Pittsburgh 4 in the 6th beat Colorado 5-3. Do you know the Washington Nationals are 500, and if the playoffs in the National League started today, they'd be in them? Just thought I'd mention that. 11-8. Nats over the Blue Jays. I'm telling you, Toronto's manager's getting fired before Memorial Day. And I wonder if there's a chance he gets fired before Mother's Day. Arizona over the Padres, 11-4. Golf, it used to be called the Byron Nelson. It's now the CJ Cup. Canadian Taylor Pendrith wins it. He birdies 18, while Ben Coakley bogeys 18, the par 5. He chunks a chip. And then he chips it up to 3 feet and he gags the putt. So Pendrith with the win. Oh, by the way, in Singapore, those LIV guys. Yeah, Brooks Koepka, winner by 2 over Cam Smith, Mark Leishman, Taylor Gooch, 3 back. You know you can get Koepka in the PGA right now for 22-1. Just so you know, Brooks Koepka, when he's in any kind of form going into a major, he had just publicly chastised himself for the bad form he was in and how he played at Augusta. And he said, I basically went to work for 3 weeks. Well, now he wins, and then he'll have a week off, and then the PGA, where he's the defending champ. 22-1 on Koepka. Scheffler, by the way, may not play. His wife hasn't had the baby yet.
Right, he's missing the elevated event leading up to it.
Right, in the Wells Fargo. NASCAR. The race in Kansas Speedway was pushed into prime time because of weather, and then it was the closest finish ever. Kyle Larson, by 1/1000th of a second, edged Chris Buescher. Buescher in a Ford. Ford hasn't won a race all year. They were celebrating for a minute. They thought they had won. No. Larson a winner. Ross Chastain, boy, does this race mark typify his season. Qualified second, led 43 laps, was running in the top 6 all day. All right, finished 19th. Still winless on the year, has dropped to 10th in the points. Formula One Miami Grand Prix, Lando Norris passed Max Verstappen and held him off to get his first ever Formula One win. In fact, Norris qualified 5th. Huh, that's shocking to come from that far back in the Formula One. NFL. It happened on Friday, but it happened after we went off the air. So the Dolphins signed Odell Beckham Jr. $3 million base, incentives that can get him up to $8.5 million. He considered the Chiefs and the Bills as his other two. And speaking of the Bills, they signed Chase Claypool to a 1-year deal. Bob Avellini, 70 years of age, died of cancer. He was the Bears quarterback in 77. He and Walter Payton helped lead Chicago into the playoffs. First time they had been to the playoffs in 14 years. Was their only playoff appearance in between George Halas and Mike Ditka as head coach. Mentioned the Kentucky Derby. Mystic Dan, the winner. 16.7 million people watched. That's the most viewership for the Derby since 1989. The race was on ABC then, so this is the most that I've ever watched the Derby on NBC. And oh, by the way, NBC announced they've re-upped with the Derby through 2032. NFL schedule release is going to be Thursday night. So there, get your popcorn ready. Hats off to Dick Vitale. He did it again. He's been doing this pediatric cancer gala in Bradenton for a long time. And basically, everybody comes and they kiss the ring, and they do it for an amazing cause. Kids battling cancer. He raised $25 million over the weekend. Every dime of it goes to research. Vital and his sponsors pick up the tab for the room and helping to get people there and what have you. Another amazing job by Dick Vitale and his wife. Well done. And as we approach 10 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So a lot going on there.
Yeah, I mean, going all the way back to Friday with
Odell
signing with the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's significant.
It is.
Yeah.
And the price tag was not.
No. $3 million base. Could earn another $5.5 million in incentives. Also, news, the Dolphins and Tua are sitting down, they're talking. They said they would. They said, could you just let us get through free agency and the draft? And then we'll sit down. We got 2 months afterwards to negotiate a deal. So, we'll see what happens. Listen, that's just about it. I mean, some guys are going to get cut on June 1st for those June 1 designated cuts. So some teams will get some cap space, but there's still a few people out there worth signing. Hey, have you seen the kicker for Michigan in the UFL? All right. He's apparently made 3 kicks already over 60 yards. He's made 6 kicks, 55 or more. He made a 60-something yarder to end the half over the weekend. Apparently it was halfway up the netting.
Maybe he can just stay in Detroit, kick for Dan Campbell.
The Lions have already reached out to him.
Well,
They should.
Weeks ago.
Can't imagine that, I mean, how good do you feel about your kicker?
Well, in Detroit, not that good. They go for it all the time.
Well, that's true. Do you really
If
need
they'd
him
have
in
kicked the field
Detroit?
goal, they might have played in the Super Bowl.
I was going to say, if Trent was their kicker, would it make a difference?
Oh.
So, anyway, so a lot going on. It was a busy weekend.
The Marlins, as you mentioned, a big trade.
Well, we can get into that, but I just don't know how many people are into the Marlins. But it's more a case of, do you think, is it smart by your team to wave the white flag this early? I mean, we can get into that. Do we really want to get into just the heartbreak of being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan? I mean, we've been so upbeat. We've been so positive. It was such a great sports weekend. There was so much to celebrate in sports. Do we really want to go there?
At least in overtime, they didn't have to go through hours of pain. They only had to go through minutes of pain.
So you saying it was better that it happened in 2 minutes?
I mean, they ripped the Band-Aid off quickly, David. It wasn't a slow drag, if you know what I mean.
Oh, no, it was not.
Poke check. Stick up there.
Unbelievable. So there's still a lot we haven't gotten to. Greg Wyshynski in an hour. We'll talk all things NHL. Brian Hill in less than 2 hours. We'll talk a little hoop, including the Orlando Magic and how close are they and where do they go from here.
As they lost Game 7 to Cleveland in a good game, but they just did not have the scoring in the second half. As you mentioned, what did Wagner shoot?
1 for 15, Mark. Yeah, second best player on the team, made one more shot than you and I.
And they, meaning Cleveland, knew it early and said, here, we're just going to back off of you.
Yeah.
You're not driving to the hoop.
All right. No. We're going to try to slow the Apollo guy down and have him pass it to you. And then you can just shoot.
Do whatever you want.
Knock yourself out, man.
We're going to stay about 5 feet back and dare you to shoot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Oh, we lost David. What the hell happened?
Well, it wasn't you, so it has to be his. Maybe it's his internet,
Don't know.
or he just. I mean, Twitch, help us out. We're good, right? We're still on.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not our internet, is what I'm asking.
no, I'm still live on Twitch.
All right. Yeah. Okay. It's his end then.
Oh no, it's not, because he pays for high-speed internet. His internet never goes out. It's only ours.
Apparently, the wife was, nearly electrocuting herself and burning the bathroom down, and
Well, don't do that.
there were sparks and what have you. So I got this urgent text at the end of the starting five. You really need to come in here. So in order to unplug the hairdryer from the outlet, didn't know if it's the outlet or what have you. And so I just turned the breaker off. And I guess this room, is connected to that. So
That's kind of, I'm doing today. Today was a day when I'm writing things down. I come back and you're gone. That kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Don't you ever leave us like that again, David.
right. Funny thing is that I wasn't touching the microphone. It's just the cable leading up to it.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Heading into Mother's Day week and a half out from the PGA. Round 2 of both the NBA and the NHL playoffs now officially underway. Baseball season at about the 1/3 pole. And can you wave the white flag this early in a season? Is that okay? This is the NFL equivalent of, let's see, the Marlins traded away arguably their best player. What were they, 9-24 at the time? So they were about 20% of the way into the season. So what's that, 3 games into an NFL season? It was a 17-game season. Every game counts for a little less than 6%. So, yeah, 3, that's an 0-3 start, maybe an 0-4 start. Would that be the equivalent?
Well, I mean, it's actually, you did the numbers. It's closer to 0-3 than 0-4. And that's
right.
a big difference.
Mm-hmm. So the Marlins waved the white flag. If this was an NFL team, they waved it at 0-3. Would you be okay if your team traded away arguably its best player?
This is very NHL, David.
Very
I can
NHL.
see this happening in the NHL. This is not baseball as much, and it's not basketball. This is an NHL type move.
So this would be an NBA team off to what, like a 3-12 start and trading away their best player? Would you be okay if your favorite NBA team traded away your best player? Coming off a playoff season, by the way, in which you've got a couple of guys hurt this year, and you're probably not going to amount to anything this year, but you could very easily be back as a playoff team next year. You could. And they go, nah, we're good. We're trading them. Prospects. Save some money. Not this year, mind you, next year. Right.
Are you sure they got prospects?
Well, they got minor leaguers anyway.
They definitely got minor leaguers.
Don't know if they're prospects. They're not top 100 prospects. They're not. I don't think any of the three guys they got are top 5 in the Padres organization. Here's the other thing that bothers me. First off, I feel very badly. There are 17 Marlins fans, and they're hanging on for dear life, not wanting to give up their fandom and root for the Braves, which would be very easy to do. And goodness knows, then all of a sudden they'd start winning. It'd be very easy to do. But they're holding on. They want to still be Marlins fans. Here's what bothers me the most, Mark. Apparently, he didn't let everybody know, hey, by the way, I'm willing to trade Luis Arias. Because there are a few people who cover baseball for a living who are former general managers, who are very connected still to the game. They text all the time with current general managers. One of them's Jim Bowden. Jim Bowden went on his radio show yesterday morning and said, I had 10 general managers text me and go, why didn't they call us? We would have offered them something better than that. So this wasn't a case of he's been on the market for a week and they thought the Padres deal would be the best deal they got.
This was more of our team sucks. I'm unloading a player. I mean, this is almost sending a message type of trade.
And this is the Padres apparently calling the Marlins and saying, listen, we need to make a deal now. We're struggling below 500, coming off last year. We can't do this. We're all in. We're spending over $200 million on our payroll. Okay, we want a rise. And the Marlins going, and the Padres just, wearing them down over the course of a week and getting them. And the new GM for the Marlins, who's being universally panned throughout the sport, and unfortunately for him, he looks like a 24-year-old bean counter also. And he sounds like one. I mean, I feel very badly for him. He might be a tremendous executive. All right. He looks like Jonah Hill in the movie Moneyball. I mean, well, about 80 pounds thinner, but he literally comes across as Jonah Hill. Did you play baseball? No, I studied economics at Princeton. I mean, that's how Peter Bendix comes across. And now this is his first major deal. Trades away a batting champion for 3 prospects, in which it's like, wait, what? And by the way, these are not top prospects. Wait, and you're paying half his salary? Seriously? Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering, is that too early? Like, if you're a fan, do you go, hey, come on now? Like, if you're a football fan and you're like, listen, I don't think we're a good team this year. But if all of a sudden your team at 0-3 trades your best player before October, are you like, what the? Or do you think, yeah.
And
okay.
trading your best player. I mean, the football equivalent of this trade, David, is trading your best player for a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
This is not trading your best player for a 1st rounder, a 3rd rounder, and a 4th rounder. And you go, I'll be damned.
No, not at all.
I don't like this, but we're going to get 3 draft picks. 2 guys should start.
Yeah, no, this is like filler for an organization. Right. And I'm just wondering if you're like, no, actually, I applaud them for doing it. They're 9-24. They know they're not going anywhere. Might as well. Because if that's the case, then the whole rest of the team's up for sale, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you can trade your best player 20% of the way into the season, then who can't you unload? And I'm just wondering.
This is going to be Moneyball relived for us.
Yeah. And are we okay with that? Are we going, no, actually, this is aggressive? Are you in favor of the move, but you just go, well, I wish you'd gotten more for him, but I'm actually in favor of it? Because Arise, for what it's worth, was under contract through next season. And this season does look as if it's a wash for the Marlins already. At the time they traded them, they were 9-24. I think they're now 10-26. And even in the National League, where 500 gets you in the playoffs, that's still 8 or 9 games out of the final playoff spot. They got more than half their starting pitching staff on the injured list. 2 of their starters are out for the year. and they get $10, $11 million worth of cap space, even though baseball doesn't have a cap, salary relief for next season. Of course, now they have to replace their best player, who just won batting title last year in the National League, the year before that in the American League. His first 5 years in the majors, by the way, his batting average, his on-base percentage, slugging percentage, the whole deal, mirror images of a guy you may have heard of before, Tony Gwynn. But I digress.
Yes, but base hits aren't important anymore, David. Neither is batting average, apparently.
Apparently not. No. So I'm just wondering, is this the new, actually, you know what? Peter Bendix and the Marlins deserve credit. More teams should do this. And is there a White Sox fan out there right now going, well, we could trade, we got 4 or 5 good guys. We might as well trade them now. We ain't going to amount to anything till at least 2026. So we might as well start trading guys now too. I'd like to thank the Marlins. Maybe we'll begin our fire sale now and not wait till the trading deadline. Or do you go, what the heck? I mean, this is an NBA team at 3-12, trading away their best player. This is an NFL team trading away, I don't know if it's trading away their starting quarterback, but it's trading away their best player at 0-3 and giving up on the season. I mean, just announcing without saying it. Telling the guys in the locker room and the fan base, yeah, we suck. We're done this year. We ain't doing squat. And I'm just curious, is what the Marlins did actually smart? They just maybe didn't get enough, but the move is smart.
Probably. But it's hard to say the move is smart when they got so little in return. You traded a 2-time batting champion and didn't get Squadoosh. They're not one of these guys that's getting called up right away.
Well, and really there's debate in the baseball community as to just in 25 and 26, how many of these guys are really going to be on the team, and if so, will they be impact players? Or is this a glorified salary dump? And the salary dump's not even this year. It's next year.
And if that's the case, then watch out for the Marlins to really start selling again. I mean, if there's anything on the team worth value, it's got to be up for sale right now.
Problem is most of their value is tied into their pitching staff.
And their pitching staff.
Half of it's hurt.
Right.
Here's the kicker, by the way, on Luis Arraez. And you could blame Kim Ang or not. But Kim Ang 2 years ago, before the 2023 season, she thought, we need more offense. And she traded away Lopez, the starting pitcher, to the Twins. It was a straight up deal. A good, young, right-handed pitcher, starting pitcher, for the guy who just won the batting title. I mean, it was a old-fashioned, no, I'm going to give you something of value, and you're going to give me something of value deal. Well, the Marlins make this deal. They give away a good young pitcher who's like a top 2 starter on the Twins. And they got a year and a month out of Arraez. Now, Kim Ang would have gotten 3 years out of Arraez. She would last year, this year, next year. She wouldn't have traded him. So the Marlins traded away, Mark, a really good young frontline starter. I think Pablo Lopez is his name. All right. And they got a year and a month out of what they got back, which was Arraez. Oh, boy. Which to me makes the trade worse.
Well, and then didn't Arraez have 5 hits his first game with the Pods, too?
Yes. He did. Or 4 for 6, something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Here's the reason why, if I was literally the Marlins, I would have said to AJ Preller and the Padres, listen, dude, we just won 3 in a row. And while I don't think we're going to amount to anything, the Twins were 7-13. And now, and at the time they made the trade, the Twins had won 10 in a row. And that in which he says, listen, AJ, can you give me just a few days? I got to see if we can continue this streak. Okay. Once we lose a couple games, I'll make the deal. But I got to see whether or not we can get back in this at all.
But the negligence for not shopping him around seems to be the bigger problem than trading him.
I mean,
if word's out that other teams were interested and you could have got more, what the hell are you doing as a general manager?
Mark, the Astros first baseman's hitting below 100. Luis Arias can play first. Seattle desperately needs offense. I mean, both those general managers all but publicly came out and said, what the hell are they doing? Why did they call me? We could have done better than that. So, I mean, it's not our poll question. Our poll question is, after, Brady's roast, what current athlete do you want to see get roasted? Aaron Rodgers, LeBron James, Tiger Woods. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. But can you sell off this early in a season?
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, DC, the Orioles have no need for Luis Arias. RCB, what are you talking football? Well, Gilo's dad, there's no doubt actually a Seattle-Baltimore mix because Seattle has the pitching. That's actually an organization in which they should do the type of trade the Twins and the Marlins did a couple of years ago. Oh, RCB, I don't know if there's a can't miss prospect.
Going Boston there?
Yeah. Although there was a lot to choose from.
Yes.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Greg Wyshynski to talk all things NHL in 40 minutes time. Brian Hill in a little more than an hour. Talk a little NBA with a focus on the Orlando Magic. He coached them twice, took them to the finals. They lose in 7 to Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs. Where do they go from here? How close are they? You know, T-Wolves lost in the first round last year. Kept the same nucleus together.
The Cavs lost in the first round last year. That game was far bigger for the Cavs than it was the Magic.
Oh, well, there's no doubt. Because Donovan Mitchell's entering the final year of his contract next year. Cleveland's going to put the super max deal in front of him this offseason. And if he signs it, great. And if he doesn't, then they realize, oh, blank, we got to trade him. And, you know, if you're Donovan Mitchell, who's a New Yorker, who wanted to go to the Knicks when he was in Utah, but now the Knicks have seemingly moved on. So, I mean, I will say, for as much as we love off-the-field stuff, and I know there's a lot of people that don't like the NBA, this NBA offseason is going to be amazing. I mean, it really will be. Because this is a terrible free agency class.
And arguably the worst draft in NBA history.
Certainly the worst one since the Anthony Bennett draft in 2013.
But we all know that if a great /star player decides I ain't playing here anymore, then there's a 90% chance that that player ain't going to be playing there anymore. And we don't know if LeBron, think about it. LeBron, okay, knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. KD, knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. Giannis, second year in a row, knocked out in the first round of the playoffs.
And Dame.
And all these guys going to get together in Paris for the Olympics. In fact, they're going to get together before then. They're going to start working out together and practicing together in Vegas and what have you.
And add Joel Embiid to that list as well. He's playing with Team USA, and he just lost in the first round.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're going to have the draft in late June, and everybody's going to go, oh, we didn't get anybody there that could help us. Okay. July 1st is going to come around, and it's going to be like, well, there aren't many people out there that we could sign that could help us. And then, Mark, all of a sudden in late July and August, those guys are all going to get together in the Olympics. And right as NFL training camp is going on, all of a sudden there are going to be all these players that come back and notify their teams, I don't want to play for you anymore. In fact, the three of us, we got together and we're going to go to Miami. How many of those rumors are we going to get? Hell, everybody's going to Miami.
See, Jimmy Butler
Right.
had a running stream of consciousness over the weekend.
He did. He did. I love Jimmy. First off, if any two sports talk show hosts should enjoy a guy having a running stream of consciousness, who should it be?
Oh, David, I don't bring it up to knock because you and I want them to be truthful.
Yes.
We want them to be honest.
Right. Don't give me diplomacy.
Thibodeau loves me. I don't love him.
Well, I do love him. I just don't want to play for
Yeah, I
him.
just don't want to play for him.
To Thibodeau's credit, by the way, Thibodeau gets asked about 12 hours after Jimmy Butler's stream of consciousness, and Tibbs goes, who? And then he kind of smiles and says, well, I love him, but I don't want him either. Can't go much further than that because you get tampering and fined and the whole deal. See, it's okay. They can say it about you. You just can't say it about them.
Right.
Right. But that's another one. Okay. He's to the point where it's kind of like you offer him a contract extension, or he probably then says, well, if you're not extending me, then I want out. So there's a good chance, because I don't know if the Heat, I mean, what, they're going to extend his contract? He's got this year and next. He'll be 36 next year, 37 the year after, and then you're going to extend him?
Yeah,
He's got a bad knee now.
Correct.
This is probably a bigger narrative here, but I think the wall might hit Jimmy hard. I hate to say that because I like him a lot.
It's possible, right?
But I mean, he over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The wall already hit him.
That correct. That's a real question.
So
to answer David's question, they cannot extend him.
But in Philadelphia, remember, famously, who did they choose over Jimmy Butler 4 or 5 years ago when he went to the Heat?
Embiid.
No. It wasn't Embiid.
Oh, Ben Simmons?
Who's the guy who had no points in the Game 6 loss to the Knicks? Okay. That's who they chose. I mean, they traded Simmons, yes. Okay. But Tobias Harris. They chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler has let them know it for 4 years. And now Jimmy Butler could be made available. And the Sixers need what? A third guy to go with Embiid and Maxey. And the thought is the Heat may be willing to unload his $50 million a year. Why? Because they're acquiring, you name it, whoever decides in Paris that they want to go play for the Heat. So
I thought you were going Simmons there.
No,
it's Harris. It's Tobias Harris.
Right.
Which the ironic thing is, Tobias Harris now they want nothing to do with him.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
The market.
Right.
Someone's going to pay him. My team might give him all this money, and I'm going to be sick about it. But do you think there's a little bit of a? I don't. Is Jimmy hard to get along with? Maybe. Or
yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what? Shut up and play.
Did you hear this Jimmy Butler story with the T-Wolves right before he got traded? Now, remember, Thibodeau brought him there. He takes him to the playoffs. They hadn't been to the playoffs in a very long time. Okay, and he wants an extension. And Tibbs and management's not giving it to him. They're like, no, you've already got a contract. And so Butler holds out. And they get him to come to practice. and Butler plays with the reserves, and he takes on the starters, and he drills them, beats them by 20-something, and is talking trash the whole way, and basically throws the ball up in the air and says, something to the effect of, and I'm out of here. And they got rid of him 48 hours later. So the last ball that he played with the Timberwolves, he kicked the T-Wolves, what. They traded him, and they weren't heard from again for 5 years.
Like Molly May, David cleaned that up.
Yes. It's
You
kind
see
of like
what
the
he did
Brady
there?
roast.
There was nothing clean about that.
No.
No, they
In
need
fact,
Molly May to clean the whole forum right
boy,
now.
do they ever. In fact, Molly Maid, I think, still there in Vegas.
There's no doubt that is still going on, but it's time now for our Molly Maid play of the day. Trent, you have plenty to choose from. What direction did you go in?
Well, on Friday, we did that incredible call from Game 6 between the Leafs and the Bruins, so it's only right we go back to the well for Game 7, which happened Saturday. It's in Boston, another ugly game that goes to overtime, and the home Bruins came through.
Out at center ice, Pasternak bumps it back for Lindholm. He'll navigate to the red line, throws it into the right corner. It's banked out in front. Pasternak, a backhand. He scores! Did someone ask for some pasta? David Pasternak, 154 into overtime, wins the series for the Bruins.
There you go. Bruins win it in 7. They send the Maple Leafs home after giving them hope by essentially letting them right back in. But nonetheless,
they didn't let them right back in. Nobody lets anybody right back in. The Leafs earned it.
They did, but that series
they busted their butt. They earned it. They came within a goal of the comeback.
But either way, we'll get Bruins Panthers in round 2, and that starts tonight. Meanwhile, the Leafs are searching for some answers.
Lets him right back into it. What is this association guy?
Exactly.
He even went to a hockey game. We went to a playoff hockey game over the weekend, for crying out loud. It's time for you to get on the bandwagon. There is plenty of room.
There's no load management in that sport, okay? Nobody's letting anybody do nothing.
That's our Molly Maid play of the day. Call it Molly Maid today if you want a clean house. 239-774-5839.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Chris Paul's 39.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he drafted the year after LeBron and D Wade. 04.
Mm-hmm.
It goes two ways. It's like we're so numb to LeBron's greatness that, in year 21, he can average 30 a game in a playoff series and no one bats an eye. That because we talk about that so much, it's like guys like Chris Paul don't get recognized for their greatness at this age either. David, let me ask you this. So 2000, what was it? 18 or 19? 18. When the Rockets had that horrible game 7 from 3 against the Warriors.
Right.
If they get through, do you think they beat Cleveland, or do you think LeBron just beats through?
No, I actually think LeBron would have won.
Me too, but I feel like I'm on an island with that.
But I will say it is interesting, and the Warriors, everybody treats the Warriors like they had such an easy run. Oklahoma City had them 3-1 down in 2016.
Right.
And then Houston had them 3-2 down in 2018.
Yep. Their first title, 2015. Cavs had them down 3-2, and I know that was LeBron with...
No, they didn't. No. Warriors were
2-1. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, and then Warriors won 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
E.B. Hill, enjoy it. I mean, I'm not St. Augustine Beach is, that's nice. I'm not.
That's a little tour. Have you been to St. Augustine's? Cool little tourist town.
I have, but I mean, that's nice. That's. That's a little out of my area code, if you know what I mean.
I don't think so.
And I don't get the shakes going to St. Augustine Beach like I do all those years when I went to Collier County, but it's close.
No. You're overplaying St. Augustine. You might get to Fernando, Fernando Beach or Fernandina Beach. Like that way might freak you out. I mean, there's Ritz-Carlton's in that direction.
Yeah, Brian, I feel for you. I do.
Whenever I go to Bonita or Naples and I see the Collier County sign, I think of David. So like, I'm entering Collier County. Start shaking.
Did you see the Turner hockey pregame show? They had the guy who coached the Blues to the Cup, who got fired this year, former Flyer, I think. And Bissonnette, he was joking about something. And Bissonnette said, "Hey, watch it, or I'm going to tell everybody you're going to be the next coach of the Leafs."
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Greg Wyshynski to talk all things NHL. At the top of the hour, Brian Hill, talk a little NBA with a focus on the Magic. Their season came to an end yesterday, a 7-game first-round defeat. Home team won all 7. Magic had their opportunities. Nip and tuck game 5, up 10 at the half in game 7. Not to be. Mark, if they can get a shooter, have you heard that? Anybody point that out?
Did you swear at me when I texted you during the game that they needed a shooter?
No, I laughed.
Okay.
I laughed. I knew
didn't
exactly
know how
what
that
you
was
were
going to
doing.
go over. Because, one, who watches the Orlando Magic?
Exactly. Like we pointed out an hour ago, The game yesterday for the Orlando Magic was the first time in 12 years they had been on network television. Not the TNT, ESPN. And we're talking about like a real network. You know, ABC, NBC, that sort of deal. 12 years they hadn't been on network television until yesterday.
And the network was praying that they would lose game 6 so they could have put a different game on yesterday.
Right. They wanted Cleveland-Boston, game 1. Wanted the Celtics on. Come on.
And Orlando jumps out to the early lead. Some great mic'd up stuff with the Cleveland coach there. They got some good stuff early, you know, of him just explaining to the team how to play and get back into the game. I thought that was some good television. But when Mitchell started going off for Cleveland and they started doubling Banchero and basically said, you're not going to beat us.
Right. Anybody but you. Right.
Orlando had nothing.
Well, and if it wasn't painfully obvious in the third quarter, it certainly was in the fourth. And Banchero, to his credit, yeah, I mean, he put his head down and kept playing the entire game.
He's really good.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Donovan Mitchell post-game said there was just a very simple answer when asked him, he's going to be a monster in this league.
Yeah. Because what's he, 6'10"?
6'10".
Yeah.
He's 20.
Yeah. Anthony Edwards is 22. Paolo Banchero is 20. You mentioned it near the top of the show, Mark. This really is, and I don't know if anybody cares, and I don't know how many people are paying attention, but this really could be the changing of the guard. You know, from time to time, sportscasters joke about imagine if we have a whatever, conference final, NBA final. But what if we have an OKC Minnesota Western Conference final? Who's got the West this year? ESPN or TNT? Okay. One of them could decide, cancel the negotiations with the NBA and renewing the deal. We're done. We're getting out of this.
But this is also on the NBA and their partners who have spent every waking hour of the last 2 years talking about how every damn thing's going to affect LeBron's legacy.
That's true. I was going to say this might be, if the guard is going to change, which it certainly looks like it is, it might be the best thing to just rip the Band-Aid off and have a Minnesota OKC final in the West. Right? Because then people will actually start to maybe
it's not much better with Denver.
No one will watch.
True.
No one will watch.
And no one watches really with Denver.
Well,
who has the best player in the game, and they're the defending champs.
Trent, no one will watch Minnesota OKC.
I understand that, but would anyone watch anything other than LeBron or Curry? Which both those options are off the table in the West.
Maybe. I mean, Jokic is about to win his third MVP in 4 years, and Luka and Kyrie are pretty damn entertaining. I mean, Denver, Dallas, I think, would do worlds better than OKC, Minnesota.
Well,
we go through this in hockey all the time. I mean, you know, Mark and I have been doing shows in which there have been great Stanley Cup playoffs. And what did we end up with the 1 year? Wasn't it Anaheim, Ottawa? In the finals, and it was like, oh, for goodness sakes, 37 people are going to watch this. You know, like thankfully when the Preds made it, they played Sid and the Penguins. Thank goodness.
And the Preds at least became a bit of a scene.
Right.
With the crowd. There was something else there.
Right. Barkley going on TV. The finals were not on Turner, and Barkley showing up and saying, oh, this puts the NBA to shame. This is awesome. Which then led right into Vegas getting expansion franchise and their scene. And yeah. By the way, how do you handle it, Mark? You're the head coach of the Bruins, and I'm the head coach of the Leafs. And both coaches know going into the game, the loser's getting fired. How do you handle, what do you say in the handshake line to me? You've won, I've lost. You're moving faster through the line than I am. And we're the coaches, so we're the end of the line. This is it.
Well, at least you got a couple of years left in your contract you'll get paid for.
Is that what you're saying to me? You're shaking my hand going, hey, I hear the buyout's 10 mil. Although
and you'll get an assistant job at worst. You'll be double dipping by Thursday.
Listen, I hear TNT's hiring. I mean, what do you say to me when you just ruined my life, changed the trajectory of my career and my family's life.
Well, and then, I mean, think about the Boston coach, Montgomery, there, who calls out Pasternak before, after games, calls him out.
Yep. Says, we need more from Pasta. That was his nickname. Pasternak, Pasta.
Says, I'm not complaining about the effort, but he needs to step up.
Yeah, he needs to do more. 2-1 game. Who scores the game winner?
David Pasternak.
Afterwards, Pasternak's asked about what his head coach said. He said, if I was in his shoes, I would have said and done the exact same thing. He was right. By the way, Trent, that is the difference between hockey and basketball right there. And I'm not playing around. That is the difference. You do that in the NBA, you're fired.
Fired.
How many coaches can call out one of their 3 best players?
Hell, Ham didn't even call out anybody on the Lakers, and he still got fired.
Right. Hell, he did everything LeBron wanted. Got fired. Think Ham picked any of the players? Please. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Toronto coach. Did you hear what he said afterwards, by the way? Oh, my goodness. He was, somebody asked some question. He starts going off on a bit of a tangent, and he says, well, when you think about it, teams coach against us. They basically coach to force us to lose the game. And that's what I thought we did in games 3 and 4. Okay. Boston, they basically crowd the front of the net. They protect their goal. They don't give them any chances. And basically the way they play is they force us to lose the game. He said, and in games 1 and 2, we were pretty good. Okay. Games 3 and 4, we lost the game. Games 5 and 6, I thought we played well. And then tonight, could have gone either way. But so then they follow up. They're like, hey, reporter all but said, hey, I just want to make sure I get this straight before I write the story saying, boy, do you have to be fired now? So did you just say teams coach against you guys, forcing you guys to lose the game, and you guys managed to pull that off all the time in the playoffs? Is that what you're saying? Wow. Great quote. Love the 6 seconds of truth. They're going to have him meet with the media today. Management's not going to do it till Thursday. Why do you do that to the guy? You're firing him. Why put him through that today or tomorrow? I mean, come on. He's going to get 132 questions about, so do you think you should keep your job? Come on.
If you're going to fire him.
Yeah, fire him.
Fire him.
Fire him. Come on. Pull a Pat Hayden. Fire Lane Kiffin on the tarmac. Okay?
You may get fired too for firing him. It's entirely possible that after you fire him that they fire you.
But I mean, come on, you can't put him through what you're going to put him through today or tomorrow. Meeting with the Toronto media.
Are they 100% going to fire him?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yes.
Yes, to what David said. Yes.
Whether it's his fault or not. I mean, come on. You put that good of a team together, or at least that much top-end talent in a hard cap sport, and you win 1 playoff series in 5 years. Yeah, next.
Let's run it back and try it again.
Yeah. No, they did. They've done that. Hell, last year they fired the GM. They didn't fire the coach, they fired the GM. What are they going to do now? And they won a playoff series last year. Yeah. They're getting fired. Team's getting blown up. I actually think Boston did them a favor. Because Florida was going to kick the tar out of them. I think the Panthers are going to steamroll the Bruins. I think Florida's got the much easier draw in the East. They get a wounded Boston/Toronto to come play them and short rest, and they're ready to go, and they have no injuries this year except for one guy, Florida. Oh, my goodness. I mean, Florida doesn't take advantage of it. They should jump all over Boston in this series. It should be 2-0 going back to Boston before the Bruins even realize they're in the series.
And this shouldn't be much of a game tonight. It really shouldn't. You're catching them coming off the emotion of Game 7, short rest. You should be able to get this done tonight. You're a better team.
But playoffs have been great. They really have. Don't know if they'll continue on both sides. Don't know, quite frankly, if there'll be a better playoff series than the one that just ended last night in Dallas. Eddie Olczyk, when the series was over, said, "Can these guys play a best of 9?"
It wouldn't have surprised me. The winner of that game last night, and you picked Dallas before the season, but watching that game going, well, the winner of this game could win the whole thing.
No doubt. They could. The winner of that game could represent the West. Now,
Dallas has got a great mix of youth and experience and a goaltender.
Yes, they do.
Colorado found their goaltender, which is the interesting part of the West right now.
So we got heavyweight matchups throughout hockey. Plus, you got the 2 Canadian franchises going at it. So that means one of them is going to make the Final Four, which will make, north of the border happy because they're desperately longing to get a team in the finals. Never mind win the thing. Haven't had a team in the finals since 2011. Haven't won it since 93.
Let's go, Edmonton. We need Connor McDavid to play in these playoffs as long as is humanly possible.
I agree. I'm with you. And Edmonton, Colorado, Edmonton, Dallas, much sexier than Vancouver. Just every time Vancouver is pretty good and they lose, the townspeople burn the city down. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen. It's only after they lose Game 7s, though. So I hope Edmonton can take care of this in 6 or less. I've never been to Vancouver. I heard it's beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've never been as well. We've got a poll question up. Based on the roast of Tom Brady last night, which current athlete would you most want to see get roasted? Tiger Woods, Aaron Rodgers, LeBron James. Voting is in that order right now. Tiger getting 50% of the vote. Aaron Rodgers, 30% of the vote. LeBron, 20%.
Let's have Miller and Moulton weigh in on this. Who would your answer be?
Tiger Woods.
Tiger.
The material's too damn good.
There's more of it. There really is.
And he's liked. Aaron Rodgers isn't liked. LeBron is liked by some, disliked by many more.
Right.
But Tiger is, despite all of the things he's done wrong, is beloved. And if he ever sat there and took what Tom Brady took last night.
Oh, my God.
I mean, all of the women jokes. Now, granted, there's a lot of material with Aaron Rodgers. He's dated, quite a few, actresses and famous people. But, I mean, oh, my God, the Tiger material. I mean, the car crash. Okay. The wife attacking
waitress.
The Denny's waitress. The wife attacking him with the 9-iron. The pills. The material with Tiger would be Brady-esque.
Because if you didn't see the Netflix roast of Tom Brady, it was no holds barred.
No. Well, that's what a roast is.
I understand.
That's why you and I were surprised he agreed to it. We're like, has anybody seen a roast?
For 3 hours on Netflix.
Well, and it was also kind of a co-roast of Belichick and Robert Kraft as well.
Not Robert Kraft.
No.
One joke, and Brady got up and said, no.
That joke was loud.
Nope.
That one joke.
One massage parlor joke.
Yep.
And Brady said no.
Yep. Brady stood up, walked over, and said, cut that out right now. Okay. All right.
Greg Wyshynski to talk all things NHL. He's next on Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Belichick, people have said Tom and I butted heads a lot. In a way that was true, but it was hard to butt heads with Tom because it was so far up Alex Guerrero's.
Mm-hmm. That's his trainer, for those that didn't know.
Brady did have the line when he said about the Deflategate, the league spent $20 million to find out. They just gave me the $20 million. I'd have said I did it.
Right. His podcast now is Puck Soup, isn't it?
Hang on. Yeah. I didn't even remember this one. Wyshynski tweeted out, "The gold mine that was a Tom Brady roast. Please don't overlook forum is what also happens when Rob Gronkowski tries to count to 5."
The Julian Edelman joke about Aaron Hernandez.
I couldn't believe
wow.
the number of Aaron Hernandez jokes that were told. Brady even
I was
told
shocked.
One. What was Brady's line? For about Gronk playing tight end. Show up on time, do this, don't kill anybody.
Right.
Like, jeez. Oh man. I mean, it's hilarious, of course, but jeez.
I got to tell you, I mean, some of the jokes were not dirty, but were so. Telling you, Brady's joke to Kim Kardashian. Thank you for coming. I know this was tough for you because that means you left your kids home with their dad. Oh, man,
that hurt too.
That is outrageously funny. Man, that's a good line.
It's my favorite question Trent asks. He always, says, I listen to him. He always says, hello, how you doing? It's always awesome. His response is always awesome. You still have some time for the show? No, I picked up the phone because I don't have any time for the show.
No, man.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 3 of Miller and Moulton on this first Monday of May. Thanks so much for being with us. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. There are not many people that cover the NHL as well as Greg Wyshynski. He does so for ESPN, ESPN.com. His podcast is called Puck Soup. You can follow Greg on X at Wyshynski, WISHYNSKI. Greg, it's David and Mark. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a fun weekend, man. A couple of game 7s or games 7, I guess I have to say, as a writer. We've been taught to say it the correct way. So it's cool, man. I'm really happy with the mix of teams in the second round. Should be fun.
Listen, you were posting about the Brady roast, and we have been talking about it as well. Is there somebody in hockey that we could roast that could be half as entertaining as the Brady roast? And if so, who would it be?
It'd be Gary Bettman. Oh, there's not even a question. It'd be Gary Bettman, right? Like,
wow.
Is there anybody else that would sit there with a smile plastered on his face, at some point uncomfortably walk over to Jeff Ross and say, "Don't say that again"?
Right.
Like, Gary Bettman.
That's fantastic. That's really good. I like that a lot, Greg. All right. Last night, Dallas, Vegas. I thought going into the game, the winner of that game could win the whole thing. And Dallas, with their mixture of youth and veterans and great goaltending, this is a team to be reckoned with, isn't it?
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, for me, the special thing about Dallas this entire season and into the playoffs is that they have this incredible, it's like a multi-layered ice cream, right? Like they've got your super veteran guys like Pavelski and Suter that have been around forever. You've got guys in your prime that are playing extraordinarily well. And then you have, this youth movement of guys like Wyatt Johnston, who scored again last night to open the scoring in the game, that have really infused a lot of energy into this team. And then it all tracks back to Jake Ottinger in goal. And, last postseason wasn't his greatest. I thought that he came into the playoffs with this reputation that he had built of being a clutch playoff goalie. His stats at the end of the year weren't all that great in the playoffs. I think the reason why is because he was exhausted. They played him down the stretch so much. Now he's rested and he's ready, and he was outstanding, I thought, in the first round and in Game 7, and away the Dallas Stars go to play Colorado.
I mean, Greg, if you really think about it, didn't the top 8 teams with points advance? Okay, I mean, did we get an upset by seeding or by points in the first round? I mean, the NHL, of the 8 teams that are left, especially if Vancouver had their number one goalie, I mean, I could see at least 6 of these 8, and if Vancouver had Demko, I could legitimately see 7 of the 8 dancing with Lord Stanley.
Without question. Yeah, the only upset we had in the first round was Colorado over Winnipeg.
Okay.
And that's a 2-3 series, and I don't think anybody's surprised, really, with the Avalanche winning that series. But everything else was chalk, and we only squeezed 2 Game 7 situations out of the first round, although both of those Game 7s were really terrific. You're right about the quality of teams, man. It's like it is a pretty big free-for-all. I don't think anybody is looking too much like a juggernaut right now, although you could make the argument the Rangers might be that team, having won now 5 playoff games in a row. But you're right. I mean, if you look at any of these teams, nobody seems counterfeit. Everyone seems like they have a legit shot of at least playing for the Cup.
We both think Florida's got a pretty big edge over Boston. Boston coming off of the 7-game series. Some questions on the Bruins team, but how do you assess that series, Greg?
Yeah, I watched a lot of the Bruins-Toronto series. I'm kind of surprised they won, to be honest with you. Like, there were times when Boston looked really slow. There were times when it looked like they were hanging on by a thread. I think Game 7 was a lot of Jeremy Swayman, their incredible goalie, doing heavy lifting, and then, the Leafs leafing a little bit and not being able to pull out that victory. I think Florida has a huge edge here. I think they're the deeper team, they're the better team. I think that Boston has one path to victory, which is Jeremy Swayman. And listen, that's a pretty good path. The guy's got like a .950 save percentage right now, and is probably the best goalie in the playoffs. So it won't necessarily be an easy one by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, you look at the depth problems that the Bruins had against the Maple Leafs team that isn't anywhere near as good as this Florida team, and it makes you think that this is going to be a series the Panthers should and probably will win.
Greg, what does Toronto do? I'm a Rangers fan, and I'm 58 years old, so I'm very familiar with, their history and where they were in the early 90s. And, they got Messier, they hired Keenan, they addressed the curse, they said, we're going to slay the dragon, and they did. But, I mean, this is 57 and counting. I mean, the Blackhawks had a 49-year deal. The Wings had a 45-year deal. I mean, what does Toronto do here?
Well, I was going to say, as a Ranger fan, the answer is, buy somebody else's good players.
Yes.
That's won the Cup several times.
Yes. Come on, 1 in 80-something years. Take it easy.
That's just me as a Devils fan talking. But no, they're going to have to probably make some adjustment to the core. The problem with them right now is that there's a lot of people in Toronto that looked at this series against Boston and said, hey, we didn't go out like punks. We played really well in Game 7. It was a one-bounce game. We're so close. If Matthews was healthy. If only we had Nylander healthy earlier in the series. If only. And so there's a lot of sort of like but ifs that happen in this series that maybe could keep them from blowing up the core of this team for at least one more year. Keep in mind that like both Mitch Marner and John Tavares are 1 year away from free agency. So in theory, you could change up the mix regardless after next season. So there's probably going to be some temptation to not, like, I won't say overreact, but react to this in the proper way. That being said, I think that the sentiment around this team, especially amongst the fans, is at the very least you've got to figure out a way to trade Mitch Marner. Like, he's going to go and he's going to be great somewhere else. It could easily turn into a Tyler Seguin or Jack Eichel situation for Toronto where they, look at his stats in a couple of years and really regret it happening. But in the case of both of those guys I just mentioned, they weren't going to do it in Boston and Buffalo respectively. And, you have to make that decision at some point that you can, upgrade that spot and that maybe the player that you're hoping is going to turn into something that he isn't, never will. And so I think Marner's the guy that I would look to trade in the offseason.
We all know Toronto had the most pressure on them. They do every year until they win the cup. It's going to be Toronto's failure that we'll talk about mostly. But at some point, we need Connor McDavid to make this run in the playoff. Is it the next greatest amount of pressure on the Edmonton Oilers?
Yeah, I think so. Like McDavid and Draisaitl, to me, I talked to them both before the season. And the vibe I got, especially from Draisaitl, is they both have sort of reached their Nathan McKinnon moment of like, I'm just not going to lose anymore. Remember like McKinnon at some point was just like, I just don't want to lose anymore, and then all of a sudden Colorado wins the cup. I got that vibe from them. I heard stories from before the season about how they were reaching out to the teammates and saying, hey, training starts now. Make sure when you get to camp, we're all going to get here at this point. It's before it's supposed to happen. There's been a real dedication this season to pushing through and playing for a championship, if not playing for the cup. So, I think Edmonton has really impressed a lot of people in the first round. They found different ways to beat the LA Kings, but granted, they are the LA Kings. It's if Edmonton can do anything well in the playoffs, it's beat the LA Kings. They've done it 3 in a row now. So this Vancouver team presents a different challenge, especially defensively. But I do think the Oilers have the advantage in depth, and if Demko comes back healthy in that series, the Canucks goalie, it could be a different math. But as of right now, I think that Edmonton has the advantage in that series.
Isn't the whistle a big deal in the East because the Rangers special teams are so good, but Florida was the best 5-on-5 team in the league, and the Canes certainly looked to be a better 5-on-5 team than the Rangers. Isn't the whistle in the East going to be a big thing?
It is, but only because, here's the thing. Like, as much of an advantage as Carolina may have at 5-on-5 against the Rangers, and I actually think that advantage I think that gap is closed more than people might realize. The Rangers have played pretty well 5-on-5 since the trade deadline when they added Jack Roslovic and Alexander Wennberg. Their numbers have certainly trended up since then at 5-on-5. The real interesting thing about this series, and I was at Game 1 last night, is that based on the numbers so far in the playoffs and based on the numbers in the regular season, it should be a lot more even on special teams. The Carolina Hurricanes had the best penalty kill in the regular season. It's not been that great in the playoffs, and then in Game 1, it killed them. But the interesting thing in Game 1 was how much the Rangers, again, played composed, played within themselves, didn't get rattled. And it was the Hurricanes that took some really, really stupid penalties to give that power play opportunity. So it wasn't the most impressive Game 1 showing for Carolina, but they've shown a pretty handy way of adapting to things under Rod Brindamore. So we'll see what happens in Game 2. But the Rangers, some people coming into this series, the Carolina Hurricanes were a pretty heavy favorite in a lot of the sports books. I said they're sleeping on the Rangers. I'm really impressed with where they are right now as a team.
What do you think about the playoff format? A lot of people want this to be revamped, to go through a 1-8 on each conference. Where are you on that?
Well, boys, here's where I am on it. I grew up at a time when 16 of 21 teams made the playoffs. And you know what nobody did? Complain. They were all happy. They were like, this seems normal. It makes me mental that half the teams of this league don't participate in the thing that people care most about when it comes to this league. I would expand the playoffs. Every other major league sport has done it. There's people that freak out about that idea because they don't want to ruin the integrity of the 16-team tournament. We don't have to. We could just make it a play-in situation for the 7, 8, 9, and 10 teams. Now, granted, this was a hard argument to make this year because the East playoff bubble was terrible, as was evidenced by the Capitals and the Islanders and what they did in the playoffs. But for me, the big change would be expand the playoffs. You can play around with the format, go back to 1-8. The players did like 1-8. But for me, the biggest thing is let's invite more people to the party. And there's definitely ways you can do it that's not going to disrupt the pristine, perfect postseason tournament that we all love.
Greg Wyshynski, ESPN, ESPN.com, Puck Soup Podcast. Follow him on X at Wyshynski, Wyshynski. Greg, safe travels. Thanks so much for your time.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Greg Wyshynski, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
One of the best.
Yes.
He covers the sport, does a great job. Threw a boys in, that makes me happy. But let me tell you, boys, keeping it very hockey.
boy, he went Bettman on us for the roast.
I can't help but laugh because I can see Bettman's face just smiling the whole time while he's just getting grilled.
What's the one issue that Gary wants to change that he can't? Gary, if you agree to the roast, we'll do what you want on this. Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know, it's amazing what they charge at Gymnastics World on a monthly basis to my kid. And then when you go to the showcase, it's $5 a ticket. Those showcases must make them so much money. So I got to pay to put my kid in the showcase. Then I had to pay $20 to get the family in. For my daughter to compete for a combined, I was there from, we got there early because we had to get in line. So we got there at 11:30. No, we got there at about 10 after 11. I got out of there 1:45. So a little over 2 hours. She competed. A couple hours. And there's not a routine that's over 30 seconds. Maybe the floor. Maybe the floor is close to a minute. Maybe.
But what you're saying is you're watching your daughter for 3 minutes total.
Tops.
Yeah.
That's including warm-ups.
Oh.
Ouch. $20 each for a cheerleading competition? So you're telling me I'm getting a deal? T. Haynes? Wow.
Now, Nokomis, did you say this about Subban late last week also? There have been a couple of PK Subban is unwatchable comments.
I've got no problem with Subban.
I don't either. I
I think he's good, actually.
For as much as I love Messier as a player, he doesn't bring much to the table as a broadcaster.
But Subban and Mess are way better than Chelios and Mess.
Yes.
There's a little chemistry there. I
He
mean, they
also
actually look like they get along.
The thing that I also like about Subban is he's willing to be genuinely opposite of Levy and Messier. Levy agrees with Messier all the time. And Subban has, on multiple occasions, just said, come on, boys. Come on, guys. Seriously? You can't be serious, and especially about officiating. I mean, the funny thing is how Messier is thinking that some things are penalties, and Subban is like, come on, Mess, that's not a penalty. It's the playoffs. Like the hit D'Angelo, I think, had on Kreider. Subban's like, come on, that's not a penalty.
So, David, let's just imagine a world in which, because you've hung out with a lot of cool people. Somehow you're in a room with Messier. What are you calling him?
First off, I don't know if I'll be able to speak. If by chance I can get over that, after I get past Captain, my captain, okay, it'd probably be Mess. I'd probably ask him, which you prefer? For people like me who don't know you, Mark or Mess? Because I would think you got to be a teammate, one of the guys to call him Mess.
Nah, it's hockey.
Okay, that's true. I mean,
you'd call Gretzky Gretz. Wayne Gretzky would. Funny story. Not a buddy of mine, an acquaintance of mine ended up at a party with Gretzky in Detroit. Which one of his teammates is with the Wings, and they set it all. They set it all up, and here's Gretzky, and this guy knew one of the players, so he was there.
We're coming back,
and he goes, "Do I call you the Great One?"
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Do want to update. We just had Greg Wyshynski on talking hockey. He doesn't do Puck Soup anymore. Okay, his podcast is called The Drop. See, Puck Soup was separate from ESPN. ESPN's very into no, if you got to do it, you got to do it underneath the umbrella. So when he was with Yahoo, his podcast, his column, is everything. He was the Puck Daddy. So then he went to ESPN. He said, hey, I got to have the puck thing in me, Puck Soup. I was just texting with him during the break. He's like, yeah, kind of had to change the name of the thing. We're calling it The Drop now. I'm like, okay. All
Fair
right.
enough.
I did say to him, I go, listen, we are going to talk for days now about, the Gary, and our poll question has to do with Brady getting roasted last night on Netflix, and what current athlete would you most want to see get roasted next? And we think we have three pretty compelling choices: Tiger, LeBron, and Aaron Rodgers. So we joked with Greg Wyshynski, hey, in the hockey world, if we're going to roast somebody, who would it be? And he didn't hesitate. He said, oh, Commissioner Bettman. So I just texted him and I said, you do know we're going to be joking about, a Gary Bettman roast off and on for the rest of the week. And he said, oh, I have 7 hours of material in my head right now.
Which commissioner would be best to get roasted?
Raj. Come on. It'd be Raj. He already kind of leaned into it with the Eminem stuff where he's like, you're still going to get booed, right?
Right. But we have some material on Raj. Bettman would be good. See, just the look of Silver would be worth
oh my God,
him getting roasted.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, he looks like a pencil.
I was just going to say, okay, the Adam Silver roast would be nothing but his appearance. And then him basically saying, so LeBron, what do you want us to do? So LeBron, what do you want us to do?
Right. That would be a scripted roast.
Yes. Okay. Commissioner James, how are you? Good to see you. I'm Commissioner Silver. Right. That's what that roast would be. Mocking his appearance and then mocking him, catering to the players as much as he does. But for those of us who love hockey, I mean, Gary Bettman, you want to talk about somebody, got to be top 10 all time, would be most uncomfortable at a roast. You talk about a guy who does not make fun of himself and has been commissioner of a sport for over 30 years. Is there a commissioner more unfunny than Gary Bettman?
I don't know if there are 4 people more unfunny than Gary Bettman.
And so to get him to agree to a roast in and of itself, so I'm encouraging Greg Wyshynski. I go, you think he could write a column? You think he could write some of those jokes down? He goes, I don't know. Could be risky.
That's very risky.
Yeah. Especially for a rights holder. The deal's got 4 more years to go. What can he do?
But you got to do it now. The avenue's right now.
Totally.
With Brady getting roasted. And if you missed it last night, it's NC-17. It leapfrogs over R-rated.
Well, but those of us of a certain era, that's what roasts are. That's why when he agreed to it, we were all going, are there conditions? Who's going to be on this? Because a roast is very un-Brady-like.
There was only one condition, apparently. Mr. Kraft was off the table. One joke told at Kraft's expense, and Brady was faster than he's ever been in his life. Looked like Moulton going for a foul ball at the drop.
No doubt. No doubt. Brady was slower fleeing the pocket than he was racing up to tell, who was that, Jeff Ross?
Yes.
Not again. But man, oh man. So it's 3 hours. I'm going to watch it. I am. I didn't last night. Game 7. Sorry. Okay. Plus one's on cable, one's streaming. I didn't want to go back and forth. But it was so big that in the Miller household, the volume was on the roast, not on a game.
Drove
7.
my mother-in-law out of the. I did not know.
Really?
Mother-in-law repellent would be a roast. And my mother-in-law is the most prim and proper woman. She is a great lady. But I don't know if I've ever heard her swear. And I turn it on as Nikki Glazer's taking the stage.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh,
and
boy.
the jokes were so crass that I'm sitting between my wife and my mother-in-law on the couch, and I am just looking straight forward.
I can't believe they let you keep it on, because that reminds me, like if I was at my late grandmother's, all right, and I switched that on, all right, we'd be 20 seconds into it and she would just turn and glare at me.
Well,
it'd be off.
Kevin Hart started with about 17 F-bombs off the bat, to which my mother-in-law said, does he know any other words? I went, all right, we're going to still give this a second because I want to watch it and I don't really care right now.
Right. And then he introduced Nikki Glazer, and she comes up and she does a classic standard, 3 minutes. This is how you do a roast bit.
And it was fire.
Yes.
It was unbelievable.
Yes. It was Buddy Hackett-esque. It really was. If you want to go back to when they really did roasts 50 years ago. Of course, they did them for charity. We believe this charity is the Tom Brady.
I guess now they did say, now at some point they said Brady was giving money to all those players' charities that appeared.
Good. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. What'd you say, Netflix? 10 million?
That I had heard, and I'd heard 8 figures for Brady to do that on Netflix. But I do not know.
Well, we were shocked he did it. I mean, we were shocked he agreed to do it. And then that's why we wondered, is this going to be a PG-13 to PG version? I mean, because, okay,
oh no.
If you're Fox, in all seriousness, are you okay with this? Does this make him more human? Okay, is this going to make him more popular with the everyday? Because, I mean, you hired Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a star. Tom Brady is he's up with the clouds, if you will, in our stratosphere.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the network, David, because if Tom Brady were going to be the lead analyst on CBS, no, I mean, and you know this way better than I do.
Yeah.
But isn't it the perfect network for him to go to be on a roast?
Yes, totally. Totally. I will say the Murdoch family, they're just like, yeah, whatever. Do whatever. Just don't get arrested. Honestly, that's basically the only ground rules to being on Fox Sports. Don't get arrested.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think this hurt one iota.
I think it helped.
Exactly. If anything, I think it made him more likable and funnier and a bigger.
Might have hurt Ben Affleck, but I don't know if he cares.
So that's the conclusion. He was the only one who was not funny yesterday.
Well, there were a few of the comedians that I didn't think were. I mean,
okay,
the same joke. How many homophobic jokes can we tell about Edelman and Brady? That
seemed to be a storyline. Yes, got it.
So there were a handful of storylines that were getting old and maybe it's because I don't watch a lot of stand-up. So some of these comedians, I'm like, who the hell are these guys? And the people coming on stage were like, who the hell are these guys?
So do we think Peyton's next? If Brady would agree to it, do you think Peyton would?
Yeah. I think he would. I don't know if he will, but he would do it.
You do?
You don't think Peyton Manning would do that?
Okay.
No.
There's poking fun at yourself, which he does a lot. He does the corny humor, some of it at his own expense, what have you. And then there's a roast.
I mean, Peyton was cute. Peyton was what you expected. Peyton's jokes were PG-13 for the most part.
Right. Introducing Tom as a 3-time Super Bowl loser. Right. And then there's a roast.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Jerry or Mark Cuban? Although technically, is Mark technically still an owner or no? I think he sold controlling interest to the Mavs.
But I still think, doesn't he have a piece of it though?
I think he's still a minority.
He's a minority, but he's not the majority owner anymore.
Right.
Johnny Mac, are you asking about Ryan Russillo or Ryan Rucco? Russillo is basically a podcaster. He's part of the Bill Simmons podcast network. He's a commentator, podcaster. Ryan Rucco is a play-by-play guy. He's more of an, quote, announcer. Oh, Rucco? He's solid. You know, he sounds like all the others.
Is there a play-by-play guy that you can't stand?
I think it's more per sport.
Right, because I like Sean McDonough doing a football game. I don't like him doing hockey.
And it's funny, he's really, because there are times where I think Sean is awful doing hockey. He has gotten big goals. Some of them.
He got that goal. He nailed the winner.
All over it.
Nailed it. Thank goodness it was Boston because he knew who was on the ice.
Yep. But he also, like when it was scoreless mid-third, he made a good observation that Toronto's been able to get a line change and they have all their big guns on the ice. And sure enough, they scored with their big guns on the ice. I mean, that's a really good job of doing play-by-play with just the right amount of analysis in it. But there are long stretches where I feel like I'm listening to a baseball game. Like Ryan Rucco was the one who just did the women's Final Four.
Remember, we got a guest here.
All right, we got him. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Longtime NBA coach, 2 stints as head coach of the Orlando Magic, took them to the finals, and now He helps cover the Orlando Magic for Bally Sports Florida. He is Brian Hill. Brian, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you? Coach, it's David and Mark. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? David
We
and
are.
Mark, everything good?
It is. Thank you so much for making time for us, particularly at this hour. First off, I'll just throw it in underhanded. Your thoughts yesterday watching a Game 7 play out and having watched this young team all year. What were you thinking?
Well, first of all, the fact that they made the playoffs and took Cleveland to a 7-game series, I thought was outstanding. I thought Jamal and his staff, Jamal Mosley and his staff, did a fantastic job with this team, and getting to the 5th seed. And I thought it's been a great series. Yesterday was not a case of any problems defensively. That was only the second time in the series that Cleveland scored 100 points, broke 100 points. But I thought we got a little out of sync offensively, especially after the great start that we got. And maybe a little bit of the shot selection and relying a little bit too heavy on shooting threes. Other than that, it's a tough series, a great series. But they just came up a little bit short.
Banchero had just an amazing game. What does the future hold for this young man? Because it appears to us that not just he, but many other young players, there's a change into the guard in the league. But talk about Banchero and what his growth can be.
Well, Paolo is first of all for his age. I mean, you look at him at 6'10" and 250 pounds. His physical and mental maturity, I think, are the things that separate him from young players, after only 1 year of college. He has a great feel for the game. He's got a maturity and a poise about him that you normally don't see in a player, now in his second year coming out of 1 year at Duke. And he's just got supreme confidence in his abilities, and he uses his physical size so well as an off the dribble player. He's not a tremendous 3-point shooter, although it has gotten better as the year went on. His game is off the dribble, get in the paint, use his body and his strength to attack people. And he's got a variety of offensive moves in there. And, he's just got a great future ahead of him. And he's playing alongside of Franz Wagner, another guy that can get you, 20 or 22 points every night, although he had a tough game yesterday. So with Paolo and Franz, they have the nucleus for, an outstanding team for years to come.
At any point this year, have you thought back to your very first year coaching the Magic? Because under you, they got good for the first time. Your first year, you won 50 games. You made the playoffs. You got beat in the first round, though, but we all know then what happened the next 2 years after that. Is it too easy talking to you to make that comparison with the Magic, or at times did you think to yourself, you got to learn a few lessons along the way, but I can see a parallel?
Yeah, you do have to learn lessons along the way. Your first dose of the playoffs and playing against the same team in in our case, a 5-game series against Indiana, or in this team's case, a 7-game series. It's different when you're playing the same team night after night, and the intensity level gets ratcheted up to a level that you don't see in the regular season with all the back and forth travel and playing a different team every other night. So it's a whole different ball game. And, so they've gone through that experience now. And, this year was all about, let's make the playoffs. Next year when they come back, it's going to be about, let's make sure we have home court advantage in the playoffs. Because as you could see in this 7-game series, that was the difference in going on to the second round to play Boston. but there are some parallels. I mean, I had two outstanding young players, obviously, in Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway. The Magic have them in Paolo and Franz Wagner. I also happen to think that Jalen Suggs is, one of the most important pieces on this team. I think what they need to find to move forward is they need more shooting. They need another, whether it's an off guard, whatever it may be, that's just like a knockdown 3-point shooter that you just can't leave open on the weak side of the floor when these other two guys are looking to attack and get in the paint. But there definitely are some parallels, other than the fact that, I was fortunate enough to have probably the most dominant center in the NBA as a young player. And today's game is different. They don't throw the ball to centers anymore unless they're standing behind the 3-point line.
So, Coach, what you're saying is they could use Dennis Scott, right? Does he have any game left?
Yes. I'm sure Dennis could still shoot the ball. I don't know whether he'd be able to do anything for them at the other end of the floor, but a Dennis Scott type of player. Dennis was an underrated defender, by the way, when he was playing. But yes, they need that guy that if you're gonna send two people at Paolo, they need that guy standing on the weak side of the floor that if he throws it out of a double team, is going to shoot a high percentage and make a high percentage of 3-point shots. I really think that's the only big need that this team is lacking.
Brian, when do you start the learning from this loss? Does it start in exit interviews, or is this just chalk it up, the season's over, when we come back in the fall, we'll start learning from it? When do you start trying to learn from what happened? Because Cleveland went through this last year. They got bounced in 5, won the series. We've seen this all the time of teams losing in front. You just talked about it. It's the learning from it, but how do you learn from losing?
Well, that's a good question. I think, I think each of the players in their own mind will think about, okay, how did I play in that 7-game series? What did I do good and what did I do poorly? What physical skill maybe do I have to work on in the off season? Those things get exposed more in a 7-game series in the playoffs than they do in the regular season, as I mentioned, because you're going against the same team 7 times and they game plan for you and they take away your strengths offensively, and you have to be able to to adjust and do things that maybe you normally didn't do offensively during the regular season. So from a player standpoint, I think that's the way they look at it is, okay, what do I need to work on so that this doesn't happen to me again? And then from a coaching standpoint, it stays with you forever. I can tell you that, okay, what did we do well? What did we not do well? What do we have to change? Is there some offensive scheme or defensive scheme that we need to implement to make us better? But the players will adjust, and if they're really good players and want to become really good players, you'll see them hanging around Orlando a lot this summer and working with the coaches and putting the time and effort in and working on the things they need to do to improve.
Do you think that the East is the Celtics to lose, or does the Porzingis injury, if it's lingering, maybe make them vulnerable?
Well, I think the Porzingis injury definitely makes them a little more vulnerable. I still think they're the class of the East. I think they're the best team in the East. But when Porzingis is on the floor, it gives them a whole nother dimension with his 3-point shooting and with his rim protection that they don't get, when he's off the floor. So it'll be a little bit harder for him, but I still think with Brown and Tatum and Drew Holiday and the rest of the crew, they'll definitely be the pick to come out of the East, and they've gotten a lot more off their bench this year than they had in the past. So I think that I think that'll probably you'll probably see that be a big part of them moving forward is what they get from their bench.
On the other side, is there someone you like in the West? Do you think tonight? I mean, obviously Denver's got to equal the series, but is there someone that can take down the defending champs?
The West is really interesting because of both Minnesota and Oklahoma City. I kind of compare Oklahoma City more to my first run with the Magic because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren. It wouldn't shock me if either one of those two teams, Minnesota or Oklahoma City, came out of the West. We went from never having won a playoff game to the NBA Finals in our second year, and it wouldn't shock me if Oklahoma City, as a young team, could end up doing the same thing. And then you have to respect Minnesota because of, one, their size, but then the way Anthony Edwards is playing right now. So I think Denver's road to the finals is much more difficult this year than it was last year.
Do you think the Anthony Edwards praise and comparisons right now that people are getting a little ahead of themselves, or when you watch the 22-year-old, do you see a little Penny? Never mind, do you see, people have actually brought up Michael? I mean, when you watch him from afar, what do you see?
Well, I don't see the Penny comparison because Penny was more of, even though he was 6'7", he was more of a point guard, and he thought about distributing the basketball and making great plays for his teammates as much as his scoring ability. Anthony Edwards is definitely a scorer, a big time scorer. And so although I wouldn't compare him maybe to Michael Jordan yet, it's definitely his ability to score the basketball that makes him such a threat, and his athleticism, and he's gotten better defensively every year he's been in the league. So he's just becoming more of an absolute all-star type all-around player.
Coach, thanks for making time for us, particularly at this hour. Really appreciate it. Be well. Hopefully we can check in later on in the playoffs.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me, and look forward to helping you anytime I can.
Brian Hill, Bally Sports Florida, with a focus on the Orlando Magic. He was part of their studio show throughout the year, but we'll check in with him, probably conference finals time and then NBA finals time. Took the Magic to the finals with Shaq and Penny. Went to the conference finals the next year, and then Shaq went to the Lakers. That's a problem, by the way, when you lose to Shaq.
It really is. It's a lot of things you can lose.
Mm-hmm.
You lose a sock, you can lose a shoe, but don't lose a Shaq.
Right. You can all of a sudden, where'd my pens go?
Right.
I thought I had an extra $20 laying around. Right. It's tough to lose a Shaq.
Changing of the guard in the association.
Maybe.
Will you be watching?
Maybe not. Be curious. People say they want the young, I'm tired of the same old. And the funny thing is the two stars in Boston, if you think of them as stars, I mean, what are they, 25, 26?
Well, they're paid like they're stars, yeah.
Well, they definitely are, but
they're part of the young guard too. They are.
Even though combined they've played over 200 playoff games. But yeah, they're 25, 26. Anthony Edwards 22. Paulo is 21 in November, or turns 22 in November?
Yes.
He's either 20 or 21 years old right now.
He's 21.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is 24?
Yep, he's my age. Luka. I will say this. I mean, if you are someone who doesn't like the NBA, chances are you don't like it because of the old guard. So maybe
exactly
tune in.
That's a great point, Trent, because there are so many, because LeBron is so polarizing. There are a lot of people who just don't like him and won't watch because of him. Well, he's out.
Yeah, the 30-plus crowd, You can even count Embiid at 31. No KD, no Steph, no LeBron, no Embiid, no Giannis, who I think is now 30. See if anybody's interested. It's entertaining as heck. It really is. Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour for the 239 and 904 is next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, do you think Donovan Mitchell's the answer in Orlando? Is he a good enough shooter? He's a scorer.
I don't know if
but
he's
is he a good enough shooter?
Right.
Because you need to stretch. You need a shooter in Orlando. Cowboys, because the Lakers have won titles, and so has even Ohio State here this century. You know. By the way, Mark, did you see our poll questions on Friday? Our 3 poll questions. You had a rough day Friday. Usually, I'm the one that has the rough day when we go to the poll questions. But pimento cheese was defeated 54 to 46.
Lost close.
Yeah, but that's a loss.
It's a loss.
And Mint Juleps was defeated by more than 2-1. Derby did win. Bucket List at 43%. The Open Championship was a close second. Wimbledon last, by the way. I thought Indy would be last, but it was Wimbledon.
I love tennis. We gonna talk any tennis? I haven't really been here since.
No.
I was. I was
There's
here for the
no,
Australian
but there's
Open.
no real.
Okay, here we go. The F1 guy who was roasting us via text on Friday, and on the air we said, what would you like us to talk about? Trent, it's a legitimate question. Trent, what would you like to talk about in tennis?
I mean, the
Mark,
tournament
thank
as
you.
it happens.
Mark, thank you. If he tries to do it, stab him in the neck.
There's
Exactly.
nothing.
Honestly, give me a topic.
Well, as it's happening.
Give me a topic. This is
Joker's
Sports
on a
Talk
run.
Radio. We're not the tennis channel. We just can't show it and not say anything. No, give me a topic. Give me a tennis topic.
I just
Nadal
wondered.
comes back from, that Nadal coming back would be a topic.
At the French. And is this it?
Yes,
Right.
that's a topic.
If Nick Kyrgios won his first Grand Slam.
That's not
Serious?
a topic.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Do you think there are 9 people listening to us who know who Nick Kyrgios is? And the 3 of us do.
I just wondered because I haven't been here through a tennis season. You know what I mean?
I think I would do a cricket segment first.
All right.
I'd do an F1 segment before I do a tennis segment right now.
That answers that question. Never mind.
I'll tell you when we'll do Nadal, Djokovic, an American male gets to the semis of the U.S. Open. Looks like he can win. No. An American male looks like he can win a major. We'll bring it up.
Hey, Francis Tiafoe.
Okay.
Good. He could do it.
Okay.
Here we
Right.
go.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour for the 239 and the 904. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. You know, you learn a lot during the commercial breaks. You really should take in this show, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. They are highly entertaining. Oftentimes having nothing to do what it is we just talked about on air.
Oftentimes?
Often, yeah.
Almost 100%.
I understand. Sometimes we continue it. Segment's going well and what have you, and we'll continue it for a while. But, you know, Trent, and I got to use the voice. I'm sorry, and I think people will support me on this. Hey, do we talk tennis at all on this show? Are we going to talk tennis at all on this show?
It all stemmed from getting to Friday's poll questions, in which I was humiliated.
Yeah, you had a rough day at the polls. Usually I have the rough day at the polls. It was you this time.
Because as we were talking about spring sports, summer events, which was highest on your bucket list, we had the Derby, the 500, the Open Championship, and Wimbledon. And we did not put Masters on there purposely because we knew it would win. The Derby ended up winning with 43% of the vote. That's where my day ended.
And Wimbledon finished last.
And that's why Trent goes, are we going to talk any tennis on this show? And I'm using the voice too, David.
But you know, during the 6 months I've been here, we've never talked about tennis.
I love tennis.
And so we simply asked Trent, what about tennis would you like us to talk about? And he had nothing. Nothing.
That's fair. I really didn't have
nothing. Exactly. Right. Just like the guy who texted us on Friday, well, you know, you should be talking more about the Miami Grand Prix and what is there to talk about. And we said, can you give us an F1 topic? Would love to talk about it. Could you give us an F1 topic? Now, it turns out Verstappen didn't win the race. And literally, it's shocking now when he doesn't win the race. So, okay.
But based off of our little talk of spring and summer events, and we got into the Masters, and David talked about hating pimento cheese sandwiches after mentioning he hated mint juleps. And I put a couple of simple poll questions up. David hates mint juleps. Do you?
Yes, they do. 69% hate them.
I would like to invite that 69% over to the house so I could make him one and see if we're still there. Because my mother-in-law had a mint julep on Saturday and went, this is pretty good.
Did you break out the good stuff?
Always.
No.
I don't. Come on, David. It's bourbon. We don't serve crap at the house.
Do you use the mule cup? What do you call that?
No, you don't use the Moscow Mule Cup for a mint julep.
Well, what do you use? Just a glass?
A rocks glass with crushed ice, bourbon, simple syrup, and mint. It's a pretty simple drink. But then David went on to say that he'd been to the Masters, which we've both been to, and David hates pimento cheese sandwiches. Actually, so much so that he gave a sandwich and a half away. This is David Moulton we're talking about, giving food away.
I've never given away food in my life except for 1.5 pimento cheese sandwiches because I figured they'd be great. So I bought 2 at one time. They're cut in half, bit into the 1/2, and was like, oh my goodness, these suck.
And 54% of the audience agrees with you, David. That's a tough beat. I'm not surprised on the mint julep. I thought it would be a little closer, but given the fact that not everybody likes bourbon, it stands to reason that not everybody would like a mint julep. But pimento cheese, the hell's going on?
So our poll question today, in light of Tom Brady agreeing to get roasted last night live on Netflix, which current athlete would you most want to see get roasted? And we think we came up with 3 pretty good ones for various reasons. LeBron, Aaron Rodgers, Tiger Woods. So far, a little more than half the voters want Tiger to get roasted.
We know it will never happen, but it would be spectacular.
I do think of the 3, he's the most likely to agree to it, though. The other 2 are still taking themselves way too seriously right now to do it.
I think Rodgers would do it if he was able to respond to every single joke. He'd go
Not
back
the
at
point of the
other
roast.
person. I know. That's what I'm saying. If he could make it about him, he would do it.
Well, the roast would be about him, so that in and of itself is enough. But do you really think he could sit there for 2+ hours and take jokes largely at his expense? See,
No.
an old Tiger, I mean, it'd be laughable that if 15 years ago we included Tiger in this poll question, people would literally say, have they drug tested you at work lately? What are you, out of your mind? But I don't know. The guy who's losing his hair, getting a little puffy in the face, okay, got his kid helping him with his swing on the range at the Masters.
And you just got to the reason why he'll never do it. And it's why I'm stunned that Tom Brady did it. Because that's out there forever now, and he has children. And one day his kids might want to watch that roast. I would advise them not to.
Wow. Their mom was a popular topic of conversation. I got to be honest.
Holy Toledo.
Well, on the other hand, he had 10 million reasons to do the roast.
At least, so they say.
I know, but he also has a $350 million contract with Fox.
Fox loved that, though. You talked about it. Just don't get arrested.
Oh, Fox's attitude is so different than, I've worked with I've never worked with NBC in any way, shape, or form, but 18 years in a some role with CBS and did a little golf with them, and then obviously the last couple years working as part of Monday Night Football. Yeah, the corporate attitude that Fox has is entirely different than the attitude that CBS, ABC, ESPN has. Like different countries, different. Totally different.
But I would love to see the Tiger Woods roast. It'll never happen.
Is there an athlete that because we discussed Peyton and we disagree on that, whether or not Peyton would do it. I think he would. You guys
Not a
disagree.
chance.
Is there an athlete like an A-list athlete that you think would do it and it would actually be entertaining?
Well, here's the thing. Like Tom Brady has a personal life that can be made fun of. We know about it. Like we don't know anything about Peyton and his kids. And his
Alex
wife.
Rodriguez. Would Alex Rodriguez do it?
I'll tell you, when he was playing, hell no. The A-Rod now, who knows he's the butt of jokes, absolutely. I think A-Rod would do it. Here's the problem. A-Rod's only got 8 people that like him. A-Rod would agree to the roast. Who would show up?
For an ex-athlete who would do it after seeing that, I could see Barkley taking the abuse for 3 hours without a problem.
Oh, my goodness.
That'd be great.
First off, the current NBA players would line up.
Right.
But like he's still good buddies with MJ. Do you think?
No.
They're not buddies.
They haven't talked in 15 years.
Ever since Chuck
Barkley
criticizes him as an owner.
Okay.
Right. No,
I stand corrected. But they used to like golf together and stuff. Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. They played golf together when they were competing against each other in the finals.
Oh, boy.
I mean, Kraft last night does 4 jokes, one of which is about how far he is away from Belichick. There's people here that I really want to see. And then he makes a Belichick line. And Kevin Hart gets Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick to do a shot together after that.
I think they both felt like they couldn't say no.
Kraft ran up. Belichick was like,
yes,
you've got to be kidding me.
In fact, somebody posted on X, it was the only time Belichick wasn't smiling and laughing the whole night, was when he was on stage having to do the shot with Kraft.
And he had his arm around Kevin Hart, not around Robert Kraft.
Exactly.
I mean, and he had his arm around Kevin Hart going, you're small and I could crush you right now.
By the way, how many teams' fan bases want him to hire Belichick now?
Better have a hell of a year, Atlanta.
Yeah, his stock went up. Belichick's stock went up last night.
All right, in all seriousness, though, don't you think Bill can't go back to being crusty second half of his tenure in New England, Bill, after this? He's clearly, whatever he's going through right now, we're seeing the fact that he does have a personality. He's willing to make fun of himself and others. He's going to do media all year with the Manning cast and what have you. Don't you think when he comes back next year, he can't go back to we're on to Cincinnati? Because don't you just call him out at the presser and go, hey, come on now. All right, we've seen you're a real person. You've shown it. You don't have to talk to us this way. Come on now. You can be a real person and answer these stupid questions. You don't have to be a jerk. No, seriously, like that's my beef with Popovich. Come on, Greg. Okay, you don't have to be like this to answer these questions. We know you got a personality. And it's okay to not be a jerk.
Could you imagine Bill flipping it in the presser? Just being total opposite? Well, I don't know. Ask him a question and he just flips it back on the reporter. Oh, I don't know. What do you think?
But don't you think, like, if you're hiring Bill as part of the interview, like, first off, my interview with Belichick would last 1 minute and 38 seconds. It literally would be, you've got the job. Here's a blank piece of paper and a pen. What is it that you want? Okay. And by the way, though, you can't go back to being the last 5 years in New England. You can't. I won't sign it if you will. And I'm being very serious. You can't do that. I'll humiliate you at a press conference. And I'm the owner. I can do it. Seriously, you can't be a jerk. You're representing this organization. Don't let Kraft get the last laugh. One self-deprecating joke a week. That's literally what I put in the contract. You can hire anybody you want, do anything you want. I need one self-deprecating joke at the Wednesday presser every week. No, seriously, can he go back to being a horse's butt?
I don't think he can. I don't think he can, but I do think last night helped him.
Yeah.
If he's winning, he can do whatever the hell he wants. That's the real answer, right?
Not necessarily.
You don't
because he would. Fraud's too strong of a word, but it would be disingenuous to see what we watched last night. And we'd heard forever that that there's a sense of humor for this guy.
But couldn't he turn around and say, look, this is football, this is business. I take this seriously. This is different than that.
You can take it seriously without being a horse's ass, though.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that's what he would tell you, right? He would tell you this is football.
You could give us no information, but you could do it, not coming across the way you did.
Yeah.
That's all, Bill. I mean, you're not going to tell us anything. The questions are still just as stupid. Just figure out a way to do it in a semi-entertaining way. Nick Saban, seriously, your buddy Nick Saban figured out how to do it. He hates the questions. He thinks they're stupid. He doesn't tell us anything. Okay, but he figured it out. Figure it out.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Michael, I've seen him served in highballs, but sure, if you're right, I'm not going to argue with you. I looked it up and said both, and I don't have silver cups, so they were served in highball glasses. In fact, they were served in Kentucky Derby highball glasses, the same things that people buy mint juleps in at the Kentucky Derby.
That doesn't surprise me that you have those.
Oh, they're old. I very rarely use them.
How many? 2?
Oh no, I've got a few dozen that
Like
were
set?
I've every year they do a different glass with all the winners on the back.
Okay.
And I've got them from the 60s, the 70s. They were my grandparents and then given to me. They're kind of cool.
That is cool.
David, very important question. Is orange Gatorade your favorite Gatorade?
No, grape.
See, grape is my favorite too, but when I answer grape, I get roasted, for lack of a better term. Mark, do you have a favorite flavor?
I'm a blue Powerade guy if I'm going to drink one of those things.
Okay.
How about the black comedian, the jokes he told at Brady's expense? For a guy who doesn't like black people, you sure do a lot of black people stuff. You took out illegal PPE loans, didn't raise your kids. You left the Patriots because you were too black for Boston. I mean, damn. Golly.
Oh no,
I can't believe he did it. I cannot believe he agreed to this. I thought it was going to be a PG version. Damn.
And it was X-rated.
Golly. Very funny meme going around, very inside hockey here. Where did I see it this morning? The breaking the Golden Knights have placed Captain Mark Stone on long-term injured reserve for next year. Sources say he should be good to go for game 1 of the playoffs next year. How about the fan bases that Brady had jokes at? How about his Chiefs jokes? Miles, I usually just buy grape and orange. Occasionally, I will buy the normal, traditional green one, not the lime, but just, the traditional, just to have a different taste around. But I pretty much drink grape and orange. And I line them up alternately in the fridge too. Very, very OCD. I don't put 2 grapes next to one another. Don't put 2 oranges next to one another. I stagger them.
That's a lot of work. I
Yep.
want everything to be in line.
Oh no, there's straight lines, but it's just that it's purple, orange, and then the next row is orange, purple. So that, once again, you can't have them touching. Okay, and we're always alternating.
So it's like checkers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. A boost, a sprinkle. By the way, what was up with the Hard Rock app? Not taking anything on the Derby.
You can't bet horses on the Hard Rock app.
So you can only do it on that, what was it, Twin Spires?
I don't know. I'm sure there are other. I thought you could bet directly through TVG, but it's been so long since I've bet horses. I don't want to give inaccurate information. But the Hard Rock app does not take horse bets.
No.
And my credit card companies don't like to work with Twin Spires, so they weren't letting me deposit. So I had to go through a whole rigmarole to finally get some money into that account to lose it for the Derby.
I was going to say, we got hardly nothing right.
No,
talking about
nothing.
I found a young lady, though. She nailed the whole Derby, nailed the 3 horses in the money, told us how they were all going to do it. It was, I've never seen a prediction for a 20-field horse race better than what she did. I'm already working on trying to get her for the Preakness.
I was just going to say, are we going to have her on for the
I'm trying, but she's going to be a rock star now. I mean, I saw her on X, and so have thousands of others. I'm serious. It's the best handicapping of a horse race I've ever seen. The morning of the Derby. Don't know how you can do any better. She gave us the horses that finished in the money, told us exactly how they were going to run the race. The jockeys ran them exactly how she said. She even said Mystic Dan's going to run it along the inside.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Because nobody that I had not seen Mystic Dan anywhere, not as a long shot. I always try to read the Louisville paper in the weeks leading up to the Derby because they cover it incredibly well. And in their articles of horses that might have a shot that are longer odds, Mystic Dan was nowhere to be found.
It's hard enough for us to get the spread correct on a any given game, let alone pick the right horse, let alone pick the right 1, 2, 3, the podium, if you will.
We need a streak or we need a parlay. One of the two, David, because we seem to win every other bet.
Right. We're just, we did very well for 3+ months, had a horrible March, and now we're just, we're the Mets. We're 16-18. We're just.
Well, here's the thing. We had such a good system for college hoops.
Right. And then the problem was that we got to the playoffs, if you will, the conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament, and the system didn't really apply anymore.
But it didn't stop us from continuing to gamble.
Right. Thinking like we knew what the hell we were talking about.
Absolutely.
But even now we have a good system with MLB. It's reliant on doubleheaders, which don't happen a whole lot. We need a system, because when we have a system, we're red hot.
That's true. We're 5-2 on our double headers. Betting on the split. You just wait to see who won the first game. You bet the loser of the first game in game 2. They're 5-2 so far this year. There you go. Caitlin Free, by the way, is the young lady who handicapped the Derby. Caitlin Free. An amazing, seriously, amazing job she did handicapping a 20-horse field. Getting all 3 horses in the money, told you exactly how the jockeys were going to run the race. It was remarkable.
I'm big on how races start, and so I'm locked in on my horse, the 7 horse is who I put some money on.
Okay.
Or I'm not the 7 horse. It was out. 7 horse was yours. Forever Young was the 7 horse. I had a horse a little outside of that, and Honor Marie, because it had run at Churchill, and there were some that thought with the odds, and I tried to get a little value.
Mm-hmm.
That horse got squeezed on both sides and banged, and I went, well,
nope.
That's about that.
That sucker's over.
We'll
so basically,
your race now.
So your horse was the Marlins season, all right?
Yes.
30 games in, it's like, you know what? Let's just start trading, guys. We're done. Got to the quarter pole. This sucker's over. Not even to the quarter pole.
Oh,
Hell,
no.
The Marlins, did they get to the 8th pole? They got to the 8th pole. Okay, but they were, 9-24 when they traded Arise? So they're 33 games into, they were a little more than 20% into the season.
0-3 in the NFL is our equivalent. Not even 0-4.
That's like the Derby not even being at the quarter pole, and then a horse going, and a jockey going, we're done. I'm just going to pull us off to the side here.
Honest question. Do you think he had anything to do with it? Get me out of here?
No. By all accounts, he was a leader in the room, and he was very popular. Now, I think everybody understands the situation. They're 9-24. They're not going to spend money. Their elite pitching is on the IL. They weren't going to win. They're in the same division as the Braves and Phillies. Like, you go to the NL West, you got the Dodgers, no one else above 500.
Maybe it was one of those deals where they're like, if we can win 10 games by May, we'll keep you around. And they didn't.
And they got fleeced by all accounts.
Most people do not like the haul that they got back. The industry has indicated the Marlins did not call around. This seems to be something that the Padres initiated, and it stayed just between the two. It's the first big deal for the new GM. Young guy, never been a GM before.
In their defense, and I'm not saying I agree with this, but what leverage do they have? I get it. You want to do your due diligence, maybe call around a bit more.
Other teams.
I get that. But
also, he wasn't a free agent at the end of this year. He's a free agent at the end of 25. So they had 11 more months, if you will, of baseball. This guy's just won back-to-back batting titles. He's a useful player. The Astros' first baseman's hitting below 100. The Mariners are in first place and can't score runs. And they've got young pitching that they can trade. I'm
not sure it's pitching what the Marlins needed, though.
Well, you can never have enough, though. And then their 2 starters are on the IL. But if
you're making this trade for 25, David,
right.
if you're making this trade for 25, so I'm with you. You can never have enough pitching, but their feeling, they're at least you would think their philosophy is our pitching next year should be fine. Everybody's coming back. Where do we have holes offensively?
The other thing, Trent, is that the Marlins are paying his salary for the rest of this year with the exception of the minimum. So his salary is like 10.6, and they're basically picking up the 10. And the Padres are essentially picking up the 0.6. Now, next year, it's all on the Padres. And the Padres are one of those teams really affected by the regional cable system going under. And I think it's why the Padres said to the Marlins, in order to do this deal, we can't take on a ton of money for this year. So that's the other thing. So let me get this straight. I'm not getting top prospects. I'm trading away a 2-time batting champion. And we have to pick up the salary for one of the 2 remaining years? Huh. Yeah. You think we can call around and get a better deal? No, I don't think we can do better than this.
Yeah, when you look at everything, it definitely looks like A, they got fleeced. B, he didn't really do his job. I just was, bringing it
you're
up.
Positive. You're a nice guy. You're a glass half full. No. It's your role on the show. And that's good because I'm glass half empty on everything. So it's
Even
good.
the Rays after the sweep on the weekend?
Oh, I don't know.
That was a big weekend for the Rays. It was.
It's tough to ever be glass half empty on the Rays, though. I mean,
but there are a lot of holes in that lineup. I mean, Arozarena getting a big hit was important.
Oh, it was nice. Snap out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, he snapped out of it. He had a big weekend. Big weekend, no doubt. So, and that's good, especially since in the American League, you can get buried pretty quickly. I mean, the National League, 500, you're in the playoffs right now. Literally, the Nats are 500. They're the final playoff spot. Remember, 2 teams made the playoffs last year in the National League, winning 84 games. The same thing could happen again this year, which is another reason why. Do we think the Marlins were done? Yes. But to raise the white flag 33 games into a season where 500 has you a serious contender for a playoff spot, and you're in the midst of a 3-game winning streak. Literally, that's what I would have said to the Padres. Can we hold off for the weekend? We've won 3 in a row. I want to see if we're turning this sucker around.
Because you got to believe this crushes the clubhouse. I mean, you just told every other player on your team you don't care about this year.
Well, they lost on Saturday, Mark, 20-4. What do you mean? Think the team's dispirited? Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today's the day when, all coming up.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Unbelievable.
What's that?
Brady, when he gets to Belichick, the people used to ask me what my favorite ring was, and I always said the next one. But now my favorite ring is that Ring doorbell with Coach Cook caught Belichick. That's just, I can watch it over and over again.
David, can you not hear the computer?
No.
Okay.
It's not set up that way. It only goes out, which is weird because he hears me through it.
Well, I can hear it. That's why, like when
the computer can only play your way, because if it did, we'd have an echo.
Okay. See, that makes sense. But like when ads start playing, I'll start laughing, and David's like, "What are you laughing at?" Like, I'm laughing at the whatever.
Adam, they are very good at marketing. I would agree with that. They are excellent. They have made a lot of fun of themselves over the years. Their TV commercials are good. They've done a really good job marketing themselves.
So there was a fan at the draft that dressed up like Mark Davis. He had the wig and everything. It's pretty good.
That is good.
Wearing a white suit. Being a Raiders fan right now would be tough. You're in the Chiefs division. You're at best the third best team in that division. Oof.
Craig Berube was on the set, the Blues coach who led him to the Cup. Okay. And he said something. Bissonnette said, "Watch it, or I'll break the story that you're going to be the next coach of the Leafs." And Berube just kind of looked at him like, "Dude, what are you doing?" Maroon told a funny story, though, being Game 7 in Boston for the Cup and third period, and he's yelling at a bunch of players, and Pat Maroon turns around and says to him, "Coach, lighten up. We're up 4-1. You know, it is funny. Once again, Turner's figured out how to do a hockey pre-intermission and post-game show. ESPN still searching. Let's see. One show is lightly produced and one show is heavily produced. Quick story. Very first production meeting, Monday Night Football. And we're in Seattle. It's Russell Wilson, playing for the Broncos, coming back to Seattle, the whole deal. And they've got it an elaborate, and they're the producer laying out what we're going to do to open the broadcast and what have you. And I mean, man, it's like a parade, all the stuff they got lined up. And he turns and he looks at Joe and Troy and goes, "What do you think?" And Joe literally says, "Do you think we could let them run on the field first before we do anything?" That's when I knew. I go, Fox, ESPN, ESPN, Fox, Fox, ESPN, right there. Oh. Sitting off to the side, the three of us, we were laughing. That was when they handed out the 100+ people who are working on the broadcast. And I literally looked at this and I go, "Are we invading a small country?" I go, what are you all doing? Troy just looked at me, shook his head.
More collared shirts than the Florida Gator coaching staff.
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're done talking. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin, at the very least, on the show tomorrow. That's not bad in and of itself.
It's a good start. It could be a good finish.
By the way, David Sampson, when trying to promote his podcast today, referred to them as the LeBron Lakers, not even the Los Angeles Lakers when he sent it out. The LeBron Lakers have a new coach, he said. Huh? See? Even he's got some snark in him.
Oh, he definitely has some snark in him. That's why he fits in so well with us. Tuesdays at 7, David Sampson.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Babe Ruth's first home run was today in 1915. He hit it against the Yankees. He was with the Sox.
Boy, it's just the irony there. It's painful.
1937, the Hindenburg explodes at Lakehurst, New Jersey. What's amazing is only 35 of 97 on board die, including one died who was on the ground.
Totally with you.
I mean, it's horrible that anybody dies in any tragedy, but to think about that. That blimp explodes, and 62 people make it out alive. That's remarkable to me.
Falling from the sky.
Right.
Right.
Today in 54, Roger Bannister runs the first sub 4-minute mile. 1968, Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison is released.
Boy, that holds up.
It does. And they didn't want to release it. They didn't even want him to do it. The first WHA championship was today in 1973, or the finals at least. The New England Whalers took down the Winnipeg Jets in 5. For some of you, I can just describe this with one word. I'll have to explain to the rest of you. But it was today in 1988, Donut Gate.
Have another donut, Koharski. Have another donut.
You fat pig.
Yep. Jim Schoenfeld, coach of the Devils, was after a Game 3 loss in the conference finals to the Bruins to fall behind 2-1 in the series. And he got suspended for a game by the league, and the Devils protested so much so they went to a Jersey court and got an injunction so that Schoenfeld could coach Game 4.
Which the referees would not officiate the game because the suspension was not upheld.
Right. And so the officials boycotted the game, and they had to literally pull 3 guys out of the crowd, put fake, shirts on them. And Schoenfeld eventually suspended for Game 5 in Boston, sat up in the press box, watched the game. Bruins won the series in 7.
1994, the channel connecting England and France opens. The Channel Tunnel, I should say. Big day in 1995, David.
Okay.
The Classic Sports Network begins on cable TV.
Oh.
And today in 2004 was the final episode of Friends.
Aw.
Orson Welles and Hurricane Carter both born today. Willie Mays is 93.
I believe he's the oldest living Hall of Famer.
Got to be.
He's also the only player, I believe, in baseball history in terms of hitting 300 with, the number of steals and home runs. There are many that feel he's the greatest player of all time. 12 Gold Gloves also.
Bob Seger is 79. George Clooney, 63. Martin Brodeur is 52. Chris Paul, 39. And Jose Altuve is 34. What did I miss, David?
You pretty much covered it. Harry Gant won at Talladega today in 91. The oldest NASCAR winner at the time. He was 51. And you got to go back in the day, Mark. John Steinbeck, Pulitzer for The Grapes of Wrath. Did you ever read it?
I did not.
It's very, very catchy. Very,
not a lot of place to that one, is there?
No, that's oofta.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
If you want to know, it's an old-fashioned country and western song. Okay, it's a family down on the luck. They got to get up. They got to move. The place they go to, things get worse. Okay, I would just say it's really uplifting. Okay, it's anti-Hallmark. Okay, yeah.
For the good, we go to Seattle, where an escaped zebra has finally been corralled. 4 zebras were able to get out of a trailer. 3 were rescued immediately. 1 was gone for nearly a week, and finally was corralled outside of Seattle after a week in the woods. Apparently, when these zebras escaped, they went right by a brunch restaurant. It was on a Sunday, and people are literally sitting there having breakfast as zebras go running by.
At least they keep running. I'd be worried if they stopped.
For the bad, we'll come back to the Sunshine State, where Terry Jennings of Pompano Beach was arrested on Friday night. The arrest records are a little short on details, but apparently he tried to rob a home. He had stolen something out of a car, and when was nearly caught by a camera, he ran to a police squad car seeking help. He had just broke into a home and went to the police asking for help.
Hey, I just broke into this place, okay, and they've got like no condiments. Can you help me out?
The 24-year-old was arrested on the spot. And finally, the ugly, we go to Japan. I'm going to try to pronounce this town. This could be like Gronkowski reading the prompter last night. Fujikawaguko. Something like that. Anyhow, it is a town known for perfect shots of Japan's iconic Mount Fuji. They are constructing a large black screen on a stretch of sidewalk to block the view of the mountain. The reason? Misbehaving foreign tourists. They're done with the tourists. They say the town is built on tourism, and I welcome many visitors, and the town welcomes them too. But there are many things about their manners that are worrying. So they are putting up a black screen on the sidewalk so tourists can't take pictures. Seems a little harsh. You know, it'd be like building a screen in front of the beach so you can't see the water.
There's a lot of stuff involving the public that people and organizations are going to great lengths to limit just how much involvement with the public they can have. It's the playoffs now. Carolina Hurricanes severely limiting where you have to be from in order to purchase tickets because they don't want a bunch of Rangers fans. Okay, the Pacers are doing the same thing because they don't want a bunch of Knicks fans. I mean, there's a lot of that going on right now in sports. Oklahoma City also is limited it to, which I have to admit is kind of tough. It's Dallas. I mean, that's not, you can drive that. That's 4 hours.
Right. And it doesn't do anything to the secondary market, which is where all these people are buying their tickets anyhow.
Right. If you're dedicated enough, you'll get in the door.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 6th, 2024.
So the money coming in on the Pacers for what it's worth, because when the show started, the Knicks were 6.5 point favorites. Now they're 5.5 point favorites. Knicks tonight, game 1. I say Knicks in 7, by the way, which was my pick against the Sixers also. Knicks in 7. This is not a good matchup for the Knicks.
I like the Knicks in 5.
Wow.
I like the Pacers in 6 for what it's worth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
could see it.
Really?
Right now, they're a more complete team. And I think they're going to outscore the Knicks.
Yeah, but for how impressive Halliburton's been, I mean, Brunson is like...
Yes.
He is...
And what do they have besides Brunson?
They got a lot of good players. DiVincenzo.
Okay, do the Knicks right now, outside of Brunson, have a forward better than Siakam? for that matter, do they have a big guy better than Turner? I mean, what's interesting about this is from a matchup standpoint, Mitchell Robinson's their best defensive center, but Miles Turner takes you away from the basket. Mitchell Robinson's not good out far from the basket. Okay, so the Knicks might have to go to their third string center to match up specifically with the Pacers. This is an interesting matchup. Pacers are young and fast. The Knicks are a veteran team that don't play fast. They're efficient, but they don't play fast.
In pretty much every series so far, the best guard has won the series.
I'll agree with you.
Great point.
I'll agree with you. To me, also, the game within the game here. First off, apparently when Jalen Brunson started his NBA career, Rick Carlisle, buried him on the bench. And there are people close to Brunson who are like, oh, trust me, he remembers. Number two, the U.S. Olympic team chose Halliburton over Brunson. Halliburton on the team, Brunson not. It literally, now the two of them played last summer on USA, what have you, and Halliburton outplayed Brunson last year for USA basketball. And they use that as their criteria. But so there are folks that think Brunson could be really motivated in this series for the Knicks. Not that winning isn't enough of a.
I don't know how much more motivated Brunson can be the way he's playing right now. I mean,
I know.
Can he play much better than he's already playing?
So the two home teams, Knicks and Nuggets, both 5.5-point favorites. How about that? Jamal Murray, not 100%. Timberwolves look great. Timberwolves haven't lost a game yet, have they?
No.
They swept Phoenix. I mean, they're 3-0 on the road. Went to Phoenix and Denver.
And you can get them in 6 tonight.
So this is a must-win for the Nuggets. They lose this, they ain't going to win the series.
I was just going to say, throughout their dominance over the last 2 years, have they been down 2-0 in a series or 3-1? They haven't, have they?
Don't know if the Nuggets trailed in a playoff series last year.
Well, and they're so good at home. They ride everything on, that advantage in the altitude and trying to play well there, and already lost one at home. So big one tonight. They're a 6-point favorite against the T-Wolves.
TNT, by the way, 7:30, 10 o'clock is your NBA double dip. Panthers, big advantage tonight, and they're big favorites. They're like minus 175. At home, they're well rested. Bruins flew in yesterday after the 7-gamer against Toronto. These two teams met in the playoffs last year. Florida 1-7. If this goes more than 5, I'll be surprised. I really do. I think the Panthers are going to 4-1.
Hard Rock has a boost. Sam Reinhart to score a goal and the Panthers to win is plus 250. So if you like the Panthers to win, chances are you also like Sam Reinhart to score a goal for what it's worth.
I'd be more apt to take the Panthers tonight and lay the goal and a half and get the plus 150. If I were to bet this game, that's how I'd bet it.
10 baseball games. Both the Rays and Marlins in action. Marlins are, after losing 2 out of 3 in Oakland, now they go to play the Dodgers. We're only minus 280 tonight. I mean, it's no big deal. Rays are home for the White Sox, though. Hey, man, chance to get back in this. You're a game below 500. The 8-26 White Sox are in town. They swept you a week ago, so it's time to return the favor. Tampa Bay minus 175 tonight. For what
Should
it's
be
worth.
a tough ticket to get at the Trop, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Rays, White Sox. Okay, over under 10,000 right now.
Under.
No, I'm serious.
Under. I know you're serious. I say
I'm going to
under.
go under. It's going to be really close. That's a good number.
Thank you. Marlins, Dodgers. Trent, your Tigers are nationally televised tonight. You can watch them. I know you're cheating and you're getting the regional cable out of Detroit and whatnot. FS1, Tigers in Cleveland to face the first place Guardians.
640?
I think it's 610 actually.
Oh,
it's my kind of game.
Yeah, right there.
You kidding me?
Just kidding. Mark can go to bed at 8:45. What are you kidding? Man. So
No, I'll make it for the remainder. There's too many other good games on tonight. I mean, Bruins and Panthers don't start till 8 o'clock.
Right. On the 4-letter network.
So that's a little bit of what's going on tonight in and around the sports world. I like the Panthers tonight a lot. I'd lay the goal and a half. That's my bet of the night, David.
Ooh, on the Panthers?
Yes.
I like the T-Wolves. I like that spread.
T-Wolves +6. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin, David Sampson to join us on the show tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning at 6.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you looking to make this Mother's Day unforgettable? Jason and Todd with the Diamond District are excited to help. This year, she'll get the ice and you'll get the cooler. A premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. With their stunning selection of fine diamond jewelry and exotic gemstone jewelry, you'll be sure to find the perfect gift that will help make this Mother's Day special. And with your purchase of $1,800 or more, you'll receive a free premium Yeti cooler valued at $300. Whether you're already part of the Diamond District family or will be meeting them for the first time, you'll fall in love quickly with their selection, quality, value, and experienced non-commissioned team. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and are excited to hand you a premium Yeti cooler when she gets the ice. Visit Jason and Todd with the Diamond District this Mother's Day week from the 8th through the 12th to receive your Yeti cooler with a purchase of $1,800 or more. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to the Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.